But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, happy Monday, good evening, and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. As you know, this show is live. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And what do we do here? Yeah, that's right. We talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. And what are those things? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Like I said, we are live. We're streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We're broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and of course, we're taking your phone calls. As always, we're taking your phone calls as part of the transparency process. So many, let's just be polite. Let's try and be polite. So many chickens on the internet are so keen to hide behind the keyboard when they say things, right? It's a big world, and of course, there's a lot of people in this big world. And there's no doubt that we're going to disagree with each other from time to time. But a lot of these cowards just smash into the keyboard and type some words, and then they scurry off into the basement that they came from. Well, let me tell you what. We're not like that here. You know why? Because it's based on a premise. And the premise is that we can get along. It's not that hard, even if we disagree. It's not really that difficult of a concept. Except if you listen to the regular news media and all the things that they do, they're not telling us that, right? We're supposed to think that our neighbors are Nazis and that they're out to get us, and that every single terrible thing you can think of and say about your neighbors, we're expected to believe that trash that comes out of Don Lemon's mouth or Sean Hannity's mouth or any of those clowns, right? And if we're being real, they're liars. They're liars. It doesn't have to be that way. So why do we have to conduct ourselves that way? And so my point is, if you want to call in and say, Mike, hold on, slow down. Let's talk about this. I think you may be off here. The bottom line is, I'm not scared. That's just the way it is. I'm not. And so if you want to be part part of the conversation at any point tonight. We always have open lines on this show. That's what we're talking about, and that's what we're doing. And yeah, that's what's up. So if you want to be part of this conversation and you want to call in and say what's up, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also find the Discord link at troubledminds.org. It's the official website. You can find the phone number right there. You can find the Discord link right there. Also, please join the Discord at fringe.fm/chat. And it'll be a direct invite both ways from the Troubled Minds actual website and also from the fringe.fm/chat website. And basically, it's just it's the same program. It's two different chat rooms, two different audiences that have commingled quite a bit. So the important thing is there's lots of smart people in there that aren't really super aggro, that aren't trying to fight with each other, that aren't trying to roll some political narrative to try and fool you and make you vote for their guy. There's none of that going on in there. And it's proof that a community can exist not agreeing on on everything, because nobody should, by the way, but they can get along anyway. That's proof in the pudding right there. And I'm just telling you, that's why we do it this way. That's why we've always done it this way. And if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. And tonight, well, as you know, as you probably know, we do a news show on Mondays and Fridays. And it's called Troubled Minds News. It airs on Twitch at 3 p.m. Pacific. And the reason we do a news show is because in the old days, we used to actually have a news segment on Troubled Minds. And there's a couple reasons why it's less than ideal. One, if people are listening to a podcast from 2 years ago, they're getting in the front of, like, let's say, I don't know, great news about a black hole, some kind of scientific, whatever the show theme is about. But in the old days, they would fire up the podcast and you'd get 2 years old news, right? Because you put an hour-long news segment in front of. Anyway, so the whole point is trying to keep it on topic here, so that if you listen to this show tomorrow or 6 months from now, the information is still going to be relevant and be good for you and be on point, on topic. So that's what's going on here. So anyway, point being is the reason I bring it up is because today on the news show, there was a lot of news, like a lot of notable news. And as you know, all you have to do is pay attention to what's going on in the world around you. And you know, there's that Afghanistan debacle. There's the China on the moon. There's all kinds of stuff, right? There's a ton of good information out there that gets skipped over because they're too busy politicizing the hot potato of the day. All right. So the reason I bring it up is one of the news stories in that particular news show that we did today was China. And if you don't know, now we're going to get to it in just a sec. I'll explain. Let me explain myself. But if you're not familiar with this show, with Troubled Minds, and you tune in expecting to hear aliens or conspiracy or, paranormal every day, you're right. But I mean, sometimes we keep both feet in the real world and look at what's happening around us, and not look to the sky, like I said, into the heavens and into this, into that. That stuff's great. I love those conversations, and it becomes, right, pop culture philosophy, basically. It's kind of what we're doing. But tonight, it's not that. Like, we may get a little political, right? But it's not about us. It's about a larger implication that is bigger than politics. When you say politics, people think lefty, righty paradigm, right? Because that's all we're allowed to think. You're not expected to believe that politics or something exists outside of that construct, all right? And so the reason why I do shows like this and why we've talked about China for a very, very, very long time is because basically, if you want to know what your future looks like, your dystopian future, China is putting it on display every day. Every day. Like, there's the amount of news that comes out of there that's shocking and disturbing and just downright, like, if it doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will. And that's what I'm saying. It seems like, I understand, like, the Chinese media and the Chinese government, the CCP, are trying very hard to not allow that information to come out. But what ends up happening as a result of that is, like Princess Leia said in Star Wars, right? Darth Vader, right? The tighter you squeeze your grip, the more systems will slip through your fingers. And it's true. It's the truth of the matter. Like, you cannot just squish people's autonomy away because, well, you'll kill them. I mean, you can, but it doesn't last forever, does it? There comes a point where people get tired of that kind of treatment. And it's rough. It's brutal. Like, that's what's going on in some places in this world. Like I say, and why I'm a staunch advocate for the First Amendment, which is free speech. All right? It's not there to protect populist speech or government speech or public relations. It's in place to protect despicable speech. The fringes of the speech, the very edge of that conversation is what it's there to protect. Because you understand, once you start trimming out the edges move inward. And as the edges of that conversation move inward, you can say less and you can think less. And you understand, it becomes a really large problem, not just for China in particular, but for the rest of the world. Because, of course, like I said, if you've ever read 1984 and wondered what our actual dystopian future looks like, China's doing it. Yeah. They're butchering people for being political dissidents. Yeah, they're doing it. They're rounding up ethnic minorities and they're putting them in camps. Yep, they're doing it. All of those things, right? It's happening in this very world we live in. And note how often people talk about it. Like I've said, I've long maintained, and I believe it to be true. Shouldn't human rights be above politics? It's a pretty simple question, and it seems like a decently easy answer to me. But I think people are confused many times. And by that I mean they don't understand what a human right actually is. They don't understand that you should be able to be wrong and not be persecuted for it. Specifically, let's say your religion. That's really what the First Amendment's all about. It protects your right to believe and to have faith the way you believe. That's it. The way you want to. The way maybe you were raised. The way maybe you've rediscovered yourself. And you have the ability to also change your mind. And so the reason I'm bringing all this up is because, of course, my news show, like I said, that we aired just a few hours back, it brought up some pretty disturbing implications because China, again, is on the move, right? China's doing its thing. China is, again, exposing the New World Order for what it's going to be. You want to know what dystopia looks like? Let's start here. Let's start with this article. This is the one that got me fired up. And this is from The Guardian, and it was reported today. And here's the craziest part, right? It's gonna start what seems to be sort of goofy, right? Sort of not very important, all right? Because you can minimize these things to just to the level of trying to say, well, that doesn't matter, Mike. That stuff doesn't matter. Well, if that's the case, then that's fine. I understand. But allow me to explain to you why I believe something as small as this absolutely matters. Not just to China, but to the future of the world. And it goes back to exactly what I said. Objectionable speech. Our right to be wrong. And our right to change our mind and reinvent ourselves. Not in the name of the party, not in the name of the government, but in the name of ourselves. So this is reported by The Guardian today. China cuts amount of time minors can spend playing online video games. All right. Like I said, it seems pretty innocuous, doesn't it? Like, Mike, it's just video games. It's just video games. That's true. That's true. However, who gets to tell you how long to do anything? You see? Quickly and suddenly, it turns from, well, this doesn't seem that bad, to wait, hold on. Maybe there are larger implications here. And that's why I want to talk about this. So let's read a little bit of this. And like I said, we're taking your phone calls tonight. And like I said, we're not talking about aliens or, the origin of the universe. So forgive me there. From time to time, we got to put our feet right back in the real world and talk about things that are important in our real world right now. Afghanistan, that's one thing. All right. That is horrific and probably not the place to talk about it here. It's just too partisan, unfortunately. It's difficult to really pick that up and not just blame this side or that side or both sides and not piss everybody off as a result, right? But anyway, this one in particular is, like I said, larger in scope, and it does actually, have big implications. So let's just read a little bit of this. And that, like I said, 702-957-1037 at troubledminds.org if you want to be part of the show. And we'll put you on the show. You can talk to me about any of this stuff. But first, let me explain. All right, here we go. All right, so China has ordered its online gaming companies to further reduce the services they provide to young gamers in a move intended to curb what the authorities described as youth video game addiction. All right. So notice, once you frame it as an addiction, it becomes a medical thing, right? So then you're able to dictate, well, if people are addicted to something, it's bad. And if it's bad, we can treat them for it. And since we control the means of healthcare in a communist system, that means we can forbid you from doing it, right? You see? And not only that, the way they frame it in that degree means that they're able to label the behavior itself a nuisance. All right, the behavior is a nuisance, and again, like I said, I don't recommend you playing 22 hours of video games a day either. I don't think you should, but I don't believe because I think you shouldn't. It should mean you can't. Do you understand? There's a huge difference there. And this is what we're talking about. And this is the whole point right here, is that everybody out there seems to think they know the answers of how to live your life. Okay? And well, they should, because they've lived a human life too. They're in the process of living a human life. And so they should have some answers there. All right? But just because somebody believes their answers are greater or better than somebody else's doesn't mean they get to dictate what another person does or does not do. You get it? And this is where we're at with this mob rule stuff. And this is why it infuriates me when we get people getting together and putting down people for making their own decisions in their own life. This is the gaslighting routine. This is social credit, guys. This is what we're looking at. And this is exactly what China is doing. So not only, we'll get to 1984 in a bit, because there's a lot to talk about here, but not only is this just the beginning of something that could happen here, right? And we're in that weird pocket in between where we have the mob trying to tell us how to live our lives, and then we have China literally dictating how people live their lives. You see? And there are people out there that believe China's way is the way, and we should follow them. Right? China's, I got all kinds. This is the craziest part, right? If you want to see how much nutty, absolutely WTF news comes out of China, just go to a search engine, type in China, hit the news tab. It's every day. Like mind-boggling, insane stuff coming out of China every damn day. And most of the stuff I pulled up tonight, to talk about is all within the past week. News from China in the past week. And I get it. I understand. All right. There's propaganda sources in the West that hate communism and the CCP. And then the CCP is fighting back with their own counter propaganda. I get it. Okay. So I'm not saying all of this is true to the letter of the digital ink it's printed on. But what I am saying is these are frightening times. And because if we don't pay attention to what they're taking from us, notice this. Chance is a ghost. Posted in the Discord last night on the Troubled Minds Discord. Well, okay, now that we're out of Iraq and now that the Afghanistan war is over, now we can rescind the Patriot Act, right? We can do away with the TSA and getting felt up at every airport, right? And this is the frightening thing. No such thing is as permanent as a temporary government policy. And you'll see every justification to keep that Patriot Act in effect. You see? You give them an inch, they take a mile. They promise to give it back, and they don't. As you guys know, don't get me started on taxes and healthcare, but the original income tax was supposed to be a temporary measure. 1%. Look what that's turned into. So do you understand? Once you give the government the leeway to make decisions like this for the way people live their lives, they ain't going to give it back. It is not happening. Tooth and nail to get that stuff back. And so you see the game. It starts with video games, does it not? It starts with this stuff, does it not? Here we go. Under the new rule, young gamers are allowed only to spend an hour playing online games on Fridays, weekends, and holidays. All right? 1 hour. That's all they're allowed. And not school nights, only Fridays, weekends, and holidays. 1 hour. And not only that, you think that's bad, right? You're like, wow, how the hell would they track that? Well, I'll tell you how they track that. And it's called, well, we'll get to that. I'll tell you how they track that. But even worse than that, it's not even like at your own discretion, right? Like, give you the autonomy to, well, okay, I'll play it. You know, I'm gonna play my hour. I only get an hour. I'm gonna play my hour before I do my homework. No, nope. They tell you when. Yeah. Let me read just a little bit more. The rules published by the National Press and Publication Administration said users under the age of 18 would be able to play games only from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. local time on those particular days. You feel what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm talking about here? So not only can you not even manage your own time now, you can't manage what you're going to do with your own time. So in the end, if that's the question, honestly, whose time is it? Does it actually belong to you? If somebody else is telling you what to do every single minute of your life? You see, when I said bigger implications, there are large, grotesque, creeping implications. Like I said, if you've read 1984, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you understand the concept of being an individual person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think the problem with this is so many people in this day and age don't even get it. They don't even understand. They see something like this, and like I said, it's easy to go, come on, Mike, really? You're gonna make a big deal about video games? Nope. Not at all. But I am going to make a big deal about my time being dictated by some government bureaucrat and my time tracked on a spreadsheet. And you see, on and on. The more you think about it, the more disturbing it is, because it doesn't end with video games. It ends with the social credit score. It ends with the abolition of laws because, well, isn't that what a benevolent society does? They don't want to actually penalize people and prosecute them. That's horrible. Well, think about that. It starts to become... I don't know. There's a lot of words. Good thing it's a talk show and we got a lot of words. Again, we're talking about China tonight. We're talking about the fact that they have literally removed the autonomy of their youngsters to even decide when they want to play their own video games. Last I checked, that should be up to the parents, should it not? Well, China believes otherwise. That's what we're talking about tonight. Do you or do you not have the right to be wrong? And do you not have the right to reform your own sins in your own way and correct your own behavior? Or do you want to just sit back and let Big Brother government do it for you? 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. And we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. Tonight, we're talking about China banning their kids from playing video games for more than 1 hour a day, not on school nights. And like I said, is it only about video games, or are there larger implications? And I think that's what it's all about. Sometimes you got to look at something that seems innocuous and may even be a good thing as far as healthy habits go, and then realize that if the government steps in and dictates it, mandates it, we have a different problem entirely, don't we? So yeah, as we talk about this, we're taking your phone calls. You can reach us at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the phone. You can also join the Discord at troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. The phone number is also there on the top of the website. Let's go to Joe in Florida. What's up, Joe in Florida? How you been, my friend? What's going on tonight?
Home from work early. Well, not early, but anyway. On the way into work this morning, there was an article about China and starting to control the algorithm. And got me thinking. I was actually going to send you the article when you were talking about this, but a quick paragraph from this article in the South China Post. You know, it says the new rules will regulate algorithm, empowerment, recommendation activities on the internet, including content aggregation, personalized recommendation, and search rankings, amid Beijing's efforts to redirect, these are the key words, amid Beijing's efforts to redirect people's attention to online content that the state deems fit for broad public consumption. And then here you are with video games. And the thing that we all agree on is why? Obedience. We know that. The thing that's been rattling off of my head is that they're trying to get rid of that Tiananmen Square generation of perceived rebels that tried to pull that stunt in the 80s. I think, you know, having these younger kids not be so influenced maybe is just going to breed more, more obedience. The other thing that just hit me in the head is a couple of months ago we talked about China allowing more children to be had in their families. And, you know, I know a couple of people here in the United States that some girls that they have open relationships, and they flat out told me, my husband or boyfriend or significant other has no interest. He's always playing video games. I don't know. So maybe playing less video games is going to lead to something else. I will tell you this. I think we all agree their elderly population is, the youth is not going to be able to keep up with their elderly population. So that's A. You know, B, I think that they're trying to breed out, again, by controlling these kids younger and younger and putting the clamp down. They're going to breed a bunch of people that may not have the ability to think freely. We all agree here. You know, I think all of us on the platform that that's the plan. And this is proof of any administration that comes to power in the United States that has full control of those same tools that they have there could be put to very nefarious usage. I mean, we're arguing about freedom of speech on Facebook, which, you know, could be deemed a private platform, public platform. How does that work? You know, I don't think the Chinese are doing it because they think there's going to be video game violence, because I really don't think, you know, we've tried that before. We've been down that road. So, but it's very interesting. And I don't know. I think when they look at the United States, they probably see a lot of ignorance, maybe, for better or for worse. And we've discussed this before. In a democracy, its own seeds are built in. Because in a democracy, eventually if an ignorant view or maybe a religious view, despite separation of church and state or something, takes hold, that has the seeds to undo democracy.
Agreed, right? So the undoing of an actual democratic republic is already built in, and all it takes is the people that live there to not give a damn about their freedom anymore, and they just give it back. They just give it back and say, "Government, take care of us." And you understand, like this is the problem I have with this. Do you like once again? I may seem like the guy on an island out here, saying, "Hey, wait, stop, look." Everybody, please understand. This is bigger than we think. And if I am, fine. But once they take it, I guarantee you don't get it back. There's only one way to get it back, and that's an ugly, ugly, ugly way. Just look at history. There's only one way to get it back. And that's why you have to fight tooth and nail, in my opinion, not to let them take it. Even if it's something as simple as this.
You know what I was thinking, and this is a big tinfoil hat one. You know, there's that article that, and it's been proven wrong, but I don't think it's totally wrong. You know, a drop in cell phone users in China wrongly attributed to CD19. And they're saying that 21 million phones got turned off, and they're saying that's wrong. It's that when the virus hit, a lot of Chinese had 2 phone lines, and they disconnected one. And I believe that they shut 21 off because maybe 4 or 5 million died, and none of us really knew. And that's going to hit their population. All of this is going to hit all of our populations. So you're going to want people to get busy. Look what people in the Middle East do. Okay? They can't beat Israel, but they sure as hell can keep having bio bombs. And when I say a bio bomb, I mean suicide bombers. Not that the Chinese are going to do that, but if you had to beat your enemy by numbers, and they might have to do it by numbers, whatever their thought is, they want an obedient society. I can't see any other way, because if my kid wanted to play video games, and he does a lot, and it really irks me that he just, like tonight, the internet, I had to reset the router, I go in there, and he's on his hotspot on the phone. And, you don't want to choke him, because he's always got away. But I let him go. You know, tonight literally happened, like reset the router, and I go in there, and I'm like, dude, is the internet? He's like, oh, I got my hotspot. I'm like, well, thanks, But the thing is this, is if the future of those kids, okay, is going to be automated, what are they going to be doing anyway? Are they going to be doing public works? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Are they going to be farming? Yeah, maybe. Maybe they're going to send those generations to all the countries that we can't afford to go to anymore, because they're going to fill the power vacuum or the power void. But there's no doubt about it. They're coming for us, and we haven't done anything about it.
And we don't even understand, in many cases, that they're coming for us. I think that's the problem here. Is one of them. The problem is like 1,000-fold, but one of them is exactly what I'm describing. If you want to know what your dystopian future looks like, this is it. They're previewing it in real time. You just have to pay attention. Because, again, right? Like somebody said in the chat there, I smoke menthols, and I was happy when the government, banned menthol cigarettes, right? Because they're worse for you. But still, right? Shouldn't that be your vice to tame? I'm not saying... Now, this is the craziest part, right? California they just tabled a legislation to completely legalize all hallucinogens, all hallucinogenic drugs. So China is cracking down on video games, and we're like, let it fly. You see what's going on here? Oh man.
But here's the thing. I believe in staying in your lane. You know what I mean? I got friends that do stuff. You try not to judge them. Maybe it's me, but you know how many people I know do judge people, and I'm like, you can't do that, man. You just can't. Stay in your lane. I got friends that, we go out and party. They might party a little bit more with some of the extra stuff. I don't need it, But stay in your lane in the United States. And I think we, for the most part, have done a good part. If you look at your neighbor, I think maybe your neighbor stays in his lane. And I stay in my lane because I don't pay my neighbor's taxes. I think it's when we get these self-interested groups that have a lot of money that want to influence our government for better or for worse. But like you said, most of the time it always ends up for worse, and we never get it back.
They don't give it back. They won't. That's the problem. Like, again, right? Think about something as simple as, we all know we should wear a seatbelt, right? And it's against the law to not wear your seatbelt. But do you think they'll ever be like, well, we think it's probably best that the person decide how much risk they want to take for the rest of their life, and they'll just like rescind the seatbelt law? Never. It's like it's a kind of a silly example, but you get the point. They'll never give it back. It doesn't matter what it is. Again, just think in recent terms, in terms of recent history. How often have they changed something and then went, oh, well, we decided that was a bad thing, so we're going to undo that thing we did? It never happens that way. They let it be, and then they add something on top of it and say, look, we fixed it. Right? It's the illusion. It's the sleight of hand.
The only time it happens is when they want to roll back antitrust laws, let Wall Street collapse, and then have the taxpayers bail everybody out. That's the only time it happens.
Yeah, well, exactly.
You know?
And well,
I mean, it's not the greatest example, but I mean, in general, for the general public, yes, you are correct. For the general public.
Like I said, we're out of Iraq and the Afghan war is over. So let's get our Patriot Act back, right? Get TSA out of airports. Not happening. Nope. Tooth and nail. You know what kind of fight that would take to actually make that happen? It would have to be millions of people in the streets. That's what it would take to get that back. To get people TSA out of your airports, feeling you up and X-raying you.
Or people just stop flying. Or people just stop flying.
Yeah.
People refuse to fly. If we refuse to fly for 2 weeks, if everybody was like, okay, we're not flying for 2 weeks. I mean, look how quickly the airlines had to get bailed out when the virus initially hit and nobody flew.
Yep.
If everybody made a conscious effort to just say, we're not flying for 2 weeks, they would probably change that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah,
it takes. Yeah, that is for another time. But it takes what Hong Kong did. It takes millions of people going to the streets and demanding it. And like I said, I think we're too fractured, and that's part of the point. Is they want us to be so we don't take to the streets in unison and say no more of this. And like I said, because of that, because we're fooled by the government and by the division politics, we're fooled by that. We think that we're in the right all the time. And I don't mean the right side. I mean in the correct lane. We think that we're on the right side of history as the rhetoric goes, right? That we're it's easier to fool someone than convince them they've been fooled. And here we are. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I appreciate it, Joe. You were the best, my friend.
No problem. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for the call. You too. That's Joe in Florida. Old time friend of the show. Been calling in for a very long time. And there you go. What do you guys think about this? So China bans video games. Let's say Night Stalker's got it right. What's up, Night Stalker? In the chat said, so basically they're effectively banning online video games. Because, you could probably go in a corner of your house and, like a kind of ninja play a Game Boy, right? That type of thing. So that probably still exists. However, right, we're talking about this type of thing in a social credit world. So what happens if the kid's friends tell on him that, hey, he's playing an extra hour? You see what happens? It's a culture of exactly that. Since they can't have it, they don't want you to have it. And so, because it's an extra privilege, all right? And so you think if there's going to be like a funny enough, Night Stalker also said it's going to be like these speakeasies where everybody shows up kind of underground, incognito style to play some video games. It ain't going to be like that, because instead they're going to report those places, right? I mean, this is what I'm saying. What do you guys think anyway? 702-957-1037. And I don't know. I'm not sure. This is, like I said, the video game argument in and of itself, is it possible to play too many video games? I think yes. I think emphatically most of us will say yes, right? But that's not the argument, right? There's a lot of things. Okay, what happens when they start dictating your exercise? You guys remember the opening scene in 1984? Like I said, Winston wakes up, and what's he do? He has to immediately stand on the line in front of the telescreen because it's watching him. He has to do his exercises because he's so fearful of being late. They even call out his number and tell him to step it up while he's doing his exercises on the telescreen with the person who's leading the exercises. Remember? This is what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And he has that little corner the little niche where he keeps his little journal that he thinks he's not being spied on, and he writes in there 2 + 2 = 4. All right, this is the same thing. You're gonna go hide in the corner and play a Game Boy. You see, this is exactly the same thing. It's just, it doesn't seem as in your face because, right, it's kind of shrouded in these other arguments. Stick with me. I'm going to keep making the case. We're going to go to, looks like this is Algo. What's up? It looks like Mike in Colorado. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Hey, buddy. I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing very well. What's on your mind tonight? What do you think about this video game stuff?
Well, the video game stuff, I don't live in China, so I'm not too concerned about that. I think the totalitarian tiptoe worldwide is certainly happening, and it may be a thing at some point here, but I doubt it because of the nature of Western people compared to the nature of society in China. The reason I wanted to call you is when you talk about protests, and everybody on the internet is like, why is the U.S. not protesting? Well, from my perspective, when we protest, it's armed, and it involves firearms, and it's not pretty.
Maybe. I mean, but I'm still not sure that's the case because I can't think of the last time, even let's, we're not going to devolve it to that, but even January 6th wasn't an armed protest. As much as they want us to believe it was not. There was not a single shot fired at the establishment. So not to devolve it into that conversation, but I'm saying even the most ridiculous protest in recent memory, they'll never let us forget it, right? Never let us forget this one because it's an insurrection. Even that wasn't an armed protest. So I don't know. I'm not so sure there, man. I think that it's just even if people go and show up at City Hall with guns as the Second Amendment and all this other stuff, you never hear about City Hall getting shot up. So I don't know. I'm with you. I get it. The implications of bringing guns to a protest is one thing, but if there's never shooting up City Hall, then I don't think we have that problem at all.
No, not so far, which is great, which is why I think a lot of Americans who are willing to do that don't protest. Did you see the protests in Greece over the weekend?
I did not, no.
Okay, so 50,000 people came out in Athens, and they were in the streets, and they throw the rocks at the cops, and the cops throw tear gas back, and literally there are probably about maybe 1,000 cops for 50,000 people. And it was the regular protest where you throw your rock at the cop and he shoots tear gas at you and you go home and nothing was accomplished. At some point in that throng of people, somebody's going to say, let's go get them. And the rest of them are going to say, holy cow, yeah, let's go get them. And they're going to be in big trouble. And I don't want that for anybody, of course. But I think the whole protest versus establishment thing is a contrived narrative that makes people feel like they're doing something, but they're not actually doing something. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're right, but it depends on the scope and the scale, right? I mean, I would cite the '60s and the Million Man March on Washington D.C. Right? Things changed, and so that's what I mean. I think it has to be so irrefutable that the press can't ignore it. I think this is part of the problem. It's not just about protesting. It's about getting traction from the press to pressure the government. And we know whose side the press is on. So I think we have a lot of things at play here. And I get what you're saying. I completely am with you. I'm not trying to get anybody to go shoot anything up. That's the worst case scenario here. But if you don't have the media behind your movement, then your protest is just a bunch of people milling around at the park on a Saturday, right? That's kind of what this turns out to be, unfortunately.
Right, yeah, for sure. And if we're in 1984 world, which you very well articulated, it kind of doesn't matter if we have 10 million people protesting. It's going to spin in the way that it's not, and the establishment government's still going to be right on the subject.
Exactly. And again, call things armed when they are not. Call things one thing when they are not. Change the definition of words when what happened is not what they're trying to tell you happened. It's the same thing. Like I said, you protesting is one thing, but we have the entire media that's trying to back up the establishment, and you have to break through it. And so it would have to be so many people they couldn't ignore it. And that's what I mean. And I think that's possible. I still have hope that we can do something like this, but we have to break down the division, partisan politics, all that garbage, and understand that, hey, look, we're on the same side with this. But people are not allowed to believe that. And, well, that's what we're here trying to do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I totally appreciate your broadcast, because you do try to do that every single time. Every time I've ever listened, you've always been authentic, genuine, and concerned for humanity. So if anybody out there is on the fence, support Troubled Minds, support Mike, and let's get this to a place where we can actually make a better future for our children and grandchildren.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. I appreciate you noticing. I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much for the call. We got one right behind you, so we got a scat, okay? If you got more to say, you're welcome to call back in the third hour.
Good night.
Thanks,
thanks for taking my call. Good night,
right,
brother.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate that. Let's go to, this is Anonymous in Texas. What's up, my friend? Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. We got like 2 minutes, so you got a couple options. You can be fast.
So I'm gonna do 2 minutes to blow minds, and I'll call back later.
All right, go.
So we'll talk about all the riots, this, that, and the other.
Okay.
Non-violent people were let in on the 6th. And those same people that were the heads of it, been proven, media won't, not legit, but those same people were the same heads of people throwing Molotov cocktails at police buildings.
Right. Yes.
And I'll leave that just...
Yes.
And then, like I said, 2 minutes, so I'm going to leave it right there.
All right.
I'm going to get back to video games. Video games go back into TV, and TV, if you go back to the Latin word, I forget the exact word, but it's predictive programming. We're going to program you to believe this, that, and the other, and we're going to force it down your face until you believe it's true. If I force down your face, sky is red, sky is red, sky is red, sky is red, eventually you're going to believe it. America's bad, America's bad, America's bad, America's bad. That's what they're forcing down our children today. Socialism is good. But at the same time, America was the first country to end slavery. China right now has people in forced slavery labor. I just got out of Afghanistan. Well, I won't touch and the bullshit that's going on with that. I'm sorry, I cursed. My bad. But we backed out of Afghanistan, and wait, the Green New Deal, electric cars, all tie into lithium batteries and everything.
Well, exactly. And I think, like I said, it's not as simple as a single thing, and there are larger implications about things that are happening out there. And if we don't notice and we don't talk about it, it's going to pass us by, my friend. And that's a big problem.
Like I said, I'd be quick. I won't ask questions. I won't say nothing. And I'll call back later. And if anybody wants to touch on any of that, I'd love to chat with any of them or expand further.
Same here. I appreciate it, my friend.
Minds, and that's what we do.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night. Appreciate the call.
Have a great night. Appreciate it.
All right. Simple as that. If you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. We're talking about, that's right, your freedom. And well, like I said, I know it's not in vogue, and it makes me a terrorist. Probably get put on a list just bringing up the term, but well, I'm willing to go there. I hope you are too. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds after the break. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing that. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the
So we got, all right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or
broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
all right. Welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you. And we also have Troubled Minds. This show is live. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what do we do here? That's right. We talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are live. We're streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls. If you want to be part of the show tonight, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and we'll put you on the show. Simple as that. Jump in the caller queue, and please also join the Fringe FM Discord as well. It's the same program, just a different chat room. Fringe.fm/chat. Lots of smart folks in both places, and you'll find some overlap. You'll find some of those great folks in both places as well. So come say hi. If you have not joined the Discords, Discord's a free chat and voice client. It's amazing. They're improving it every day, and it's blowing away all of the folks in the old days that tried to make chat clients on the internet and voice clients and all the rest of this. If you think Skype's cat's meow, you are living 15 years ago. This is nothing like that. It blows it all away. Anyway, so like I said, we're not even sponsored by them. That's just how amazing that program is. Okay, so the deal is this, right? Tonight we're talking about China, and not just China specifically. The social credit score, all that stuff is on the table, but they just released this information today. It's just hitting the news cycle, and it starts like this. This is from The Guardian, and it goes as simple as this. Headline is, China cuts amount of time minors can spend playing online video games. All right, which is fine. And Night Stalker had a great point. What's up, Derek? He said that, well, that means that it's, you could plug in like an old Nintendo into a TV and play your brains out if you want. But again, that's true, whereas that may be true and they can't necessarily track that. Then you have people talk to each other, right? And if Jimmy plays more video games than Johnny and Johnny's jealous, well, he's going to tell on Jimmy, isn't he? And I think this is part of the culture of which we see today, cancel culture, all right? We see it. It's in the West. It already exists. I mean, it has for a long time. I realize it's not a brand new thing. However, if we're like literally just willing to rat on each other because somebody has something different or better or you're jealous, then, well, we have another problem, don't we? So I think there's, like I said, now just real quick, just so you understand what we're talking about here. China has ordered its online gaming companies to further reduce the services they provide to young gamers, in a move intended to curb what authorities described as youth video game addiction. And like I said, that's arguable. I think that we're probably okay with that. And, like video games, playing them 20 hours a day is probably a bad idea. Like I said, there's an extreme to everything. Smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day, terrible for you, right? But again, isn't that the parent's job? Not to keep your kid from smoking 10 packs a day. Well, that too, but you see the point. I got you, Anonymous. Call back. I was about to go to you in just a sec. I even hurried the intro for you, man. Come on. He hung up. All right. Anyway. So you just got to make sure that we stop here. That we have a like a conversation about this in particular, and not only that, it ends up becoming a larger. Conversation. It's not just about video games anymore. It becomes about do we allow the governments to tell us what to do and when to do it? because it doesn't stop at video games. Like I said, I think we can all agree smoking 10 packs a day is bad, all right? And I'm not saying that two things are the same thing. I'm saying that if you do way too much of something every day, it's going to be bad for you, all right? However, should we put that in the hands of the government? Should we say, by the way, government, please tell me how much of this I can do on a daily basis? Because the second we allow it, they continue doing it. When they continue doing it, we have a social credit score run by the government. There you go. What's up? What's up? This is propaganda to stir up dissent here in the U.S. This is total BS. That what do you mean? That article itself? What's up? What's up, Penny? How you doing? Yeah, no. I don't know. Like again, if you got an idea on this, Jack, we'd love to hear from you. I don't know. Like I think that. Well, no, it's being reported all over the place. And so this isn't the only thing either. Like I said, just type China in any search engine, hit news, and you're going to see a ton of stuff, a ton of egregious stuff that's, clearly, you can't really measure country to country. You can't say their values, our values, that type of thing, right? But I'm not so sure that literally giving the government the keys to everybody's life and allowing them to control it from cradle to grave, well, is a thing, right? And like I said, I know somebody's about to call me a tax slave, and I'm about to rage, all right? Because that's a different story entirely, but also kind of not, right? Also kind of not. All right. No, you're good. You're good, Jack. Nobody's going to hurt my feelings. We're okay. All right. So anyway, point being, so I'm reading the chat is when you hear me. When I'm talking like that, I'm not actually talking to the voices in my head. There's chat in all these different places that I'm reading as we go. So I promise I'm not talking to the voices in my own head. All right. But anyway, like that's for another time. Point being though, right? So it is. I agree with you. And I said that when we started actually, is that you have to be wary of propaganda. Okay. But now the thing is this, is that they've been doing this for a while anyway. China has. And so they just lowered the limit. All right. And said, okay, well, this is, I think it was 3 hours a week they were allowed. Now it's 1 per day, something like this. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, I don't think that's the argument. Sure, if you want to make the propaganda argument, I'm with you there. But any argument we can talk about. Like I said, nothing is off limits here. I'm not trying to dictate any of that. Like I'm hopefully starting a conversation that's compelling enough to get you guys to call in and be part of it. That's really what this is about. And like I said, sometimes we're all over the place. We talk about, the mysteries of the universe, as it were. We talk about ghosts or aliens or this or that or everything. But I just think when things like this come out, we need to be reminded that there's a larger implication with things like this, and just handing over the keys to the kingdom, to the government, for each individual, I have a big problem with. I have a really big problem with. And there we go. So anyway, all right. So let's keep on trucking. This is what we're talking about, but there's more, all right? So let's do this. This is from the Epic Times, and I know they're kind of like an anti-Chinese propaganda outfit, but they're part of that is run by the folks in the that are being run into their camps, actually into their minority, the Muslim minority camps that they're running in China. So here we go. I'm going to link this, put in the chat. And so there's again, greater implications, meaning that it's not just about the video games. It's not just about this thing in particular. It becomes other things, because you start having things like this. This is from, again, like I said, just type in the chat China and hit news. Is China's social credit system coming to the U.S.? Yeah, it's probably half here. And the reason I say that is because we're already kind of ratting on each other, right? We're already, think about it, like the news media and like activist groups, they're trying to out you for being a right winger, or for having ties to, who knows, even, third and fourth degrees removed of whoever, right? So somebody unsavory. And so I think that's part of the problem here, is that we're already kind of locked into this idea that we want to out the neighbor. We want to, like I said, if Jimmy's playing more video games than Johnny's going to tell on Jimmy, because damn it, he wants to play more video games too, right? And this is where we're at. It's not about what you have, it's about what you want. And the perception is that if somebody else has it and you don't, and they're not allowed to, what do you think? You think everybody's going to shut up and let them play the video games? Or do you think that they're going to rat Jimmy out for playing too many video games? You see? Even if they do it offline. Yeah, Derek brought up a good point as well, Derek in Massachusetts, that not only, so if they're curbing the amount of online video games you play, it's also silencing communication, because as we all know, online video games are very much like this, where we get together. This could be a video game. I've done it. I've streamed a video game, and we could talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about, right? And I think that's part of it. It is bigger. The conversation is bigger than just these simple things, because it's communication. It's about youngsters getting together in a, well, if you say whatever it is, let's say unregulated area, right? If you kind of let the kids out on the playground, and they're going to be mean to each other, right? Like that's what kids do. Kids are going to be bad, all right? I mean, because they have to, right? Like you do your best as parents to make them good, and they do their best to learn and try and be good, but then they also have to explore how to be bad, or else they don't understand why there's value in being good, right? Like it's part of that whole thing. And again, trust me, I'm not trying to turn this into how to raise your kids. I don't know. I'm saying that I had experience as a kid, and kids on the playground were mean. That's what I'm saying, right? So anyway, you get the point. So think of it as a digital playground that they're limiting time on, because kids getting together and having their own ideas, also not allowed. So you see, that's what I'm talking about. It's, I don't know, larger implications here. And so the question is, right, so the Chinese social credit system is a form of data-driven tyranny. This is straight from the article. It's social engineering in its most technologically advanced form. A great leap forward for despotic rulers, but a great leap back for a broader society. And I can't say that I disagree. Like, there's a lot here that it makes a ton of sense. Here you go. Resistance, as the Chinese citizens know only too well, is futile. Participation is mandatory. And we talked about this in the past with, Frank, like I said in the news show today. When we first started streaming Troubled Minds, we tried to get on as many platforms as possible. And he went to sign up for the Chinese streaming service, and he had to do like... They wanted, like, I joked of like a retina scan, but they wanted like fingerprints and like a social security number in China. They wanted everything. You weren't allowed to stream on there unless they knew exactly who you were. Doing it anonymously? Oh, no. So clearly we're not streaming in China. So anyway, that's the point. That's the point of the conversation tonight. I think this is here. I think it's larger than just the social credit. I think that once you start integrating this with the government and them cracking down on it and mandating what we can and can't do, that's when I said it becomes a conversation. Sometimes it's not as simple as just boom, right? Like this is bad, that's it. No, it's a lot bigger than that. So, all right, we're going to keep on trucking here, but we have a phone call. Let's go back to our friend. I think I'm just going to call you Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy?
I'm just going to call you Jim.
Welcome back to the show. I can hear you now.
Yeah,
could you please mute me?
Okay, so do me a favor, mute me for like 4 seconds, man. I'm about to pee.
Got it. I got you muted. All right, muted. There you go. See, there you go. I like the honesty. All right, we'll give him a few more than that. Okay, so this is the thing, right? We're still taking your phone calls and talking about this. Like I said, it's not even about video games. It's not even about that. It's about the government and them kind of encroaching on your ability to do anything, for you to make up your own mind about anything. And I think that's the problem here. So, so what'll happen, right? So think of it this way. This is a good idea. Lazy Guy X, what's up, says, all internet should shut down for 4 hours a day between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. That's where this leads. That's where this leads. Do you understand me? Right? Where that may be a good idea. Maybe you need that to happen for you. Do you think that dictate should just go to everybody because you think it might be a good idea? Yeah. No, Penny, we actually didn't ever stream in China because they wanted like a a stool sample. So no, we did not. All right, welcome, Jimmy, back to the stream. You are now unmuted. Can you mute me?
Yes. So can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Can you mute me? I'm hearing myself
I'm here.
back.
I'm good. Can you mute me? Yeah, I'm working on it, man. My phone's been acting weird. I've been going crazy and calling out a lot of BS going on.
All right, you're good.
But what I will go to is, instead of video games, we'll go to just one TV show.
Sure.
And when I say one TV show, it's a cartoon. I grew up loving it. It's called The Simpsons. They predicted 9/11 with conspiracy stuff. They predicted Trump. Oh, wait. Yep, that happened. They also predicted Lisa Simpson as the president. And, oh, wait, Kamala had the same exact outfit. Television is predictive programming. They are programming people to realize what's going on. And it leads back into the UFO thing. Like, oh, they're showing UFOs so that people don't realize what's really going on. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, predictive programming, I think that's another thing entirely. Could you mute me on your stream?
Could you mute me on your stream?
I'm talking back, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What was that again? Talking back, please.
Just mute the stream.
My phone, like I said, my phone's been messing with me because I've been posting a lot of different things all over.
Okay, could you take it off speaker?
For a long time in the military.
Take it off speaker. That would help.
Take it off speaker. That would help. Okay, we'll go like that.
Thank you. That'll fix it. That'll fix it. Okay. So my thought on that. So predictive programming is one thing, and that's an entire show all by itself. So yes, do I believe the Simpsons are actually maybe telling the future? I don't know about that. Only because they've been at it for like what 20 years or 25 years, and you think about it. Like think about it this way, just real quick. Let me make the point. If I was at it for 25 years, doing 5 shows a week for 25 years, you're damn right there'd be some things I said that were eerily predictive. All right. Just because I would be saying a lot of things, talking about a lot of pop culture, talking about a lot of this type of stuff. So I'm not sure I'm ready to believe that as a fortune telling sort of thing, like telling the future. But I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean, right? Like fiction is truth is stranger than fiction, and it mirrors, reality sort of mirrors this fictional world and the rest of this. I get you, but I'm just saying I'm not willing personally to go that far. But we're welcome to have that conversation for sure.
Okay. Can I give you 3 things off The Simpsons?
Sure.
And then I'll link it back to one of the shows I also loved when I was a kid, The X-Files.
Sure.
Simpsons, 3 different things. Prior to Trump being elected, Trump going down when he was going to run for president. Perfect sign, met it, real world, real time. Simpsons showed a picture in their cartoon, had a 9/11, prior to 9/11, I'm talking this happened back 10 years prior to all that, and hit the towers the same exact way. The Simpsons, all coming from China with imported China merchandise with a virus where they put people in a bubble and locked down the entire Simpsons world. That's 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Now we'll go back. Now we'll go back to my other favorite show, X-Files. Did you ever watch the intro to the new coming of the new season where it talked about like when they were shut down, right? X-Files got shut down prior to the first release by a mass amount of people, to include military personnel like myself, right before 9/11. And it got shut down because 9/11 happened. Remember that conversation? Where a bunch of different people coming out and exposing the truth, like, yeah, there's technology that's out there that's way beyond what we have even today.
Yeah, I don't remember that particular instance, but I do believe you. I think it is. I don't know, man. Like how do we reconcile all this? Like, so Lazy Guy X says in the chat too, like we need to bring back family time, social communication. I agree. Like too much internet's a bad thing. Too many video games is a bad thing. Too many drugs is a bad thing. Right?
Video games is a downfall, and the internet is the downfall of a family. Kids come home. You feed them their cell phone, their media, their internet, and they get trained or watch, TikTok videos about boom, 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 or, whatever this other stuff is where they're, trying to make kids be like, oh, I'm so cute, I'm so this, that, and the other. Like, no, they need to get back to home and learn what a home is and learn how to cook. learn how to eat, learn how to provide for a family, learn the basics of how to live, not through technology. And that's, I think it was Einstein, is that it? Technology will be the destroyer of the American people, or the people as a person. The more we rely on technology, when they take it away, i.e. China, video games, Red Dawn scenario, even though they made it North Korea because China's owned our media since, I don't know, the 80s. They even came out and said it. But anyways, we won't talk about that part. But the more we rely on technology, the more people rely on TV, the less we search out the truth. And that's what Troubled Minds is about. If you want to know the truth, you got to search it out.
Yes, sir. And ask the questions.
Truth,
yes, sir.
You have to search it more into it. Don't believe what somebody told you or what Facebook wants you to believe, or I should say Facebook. Facebook, or, you know, any of the other mainstream type medias, like it's predictive programming, it's television. Root for this person, don't look this way. Root for your Cowboys, and don't realize we're, you know, going to pass $7 trillion worth of stuff that actually costs $20 trillion. And yeah, and that time frame will only make $6 trillion. So that means, yeah, that's a lot of debt. That's hyperinflation. But, you know, like I said, the show go anywhere, wherever it wants to go.
There you go. Good stuff, my friend. Good stuff. I appreciate the call. What was your name again? Jimmy, right?
Yeah, sure.
Jimmy.
Or anonymous.
Jimmy in Texas. Thanks for the call, my friend. We got to keep on trucking. Good stuff as always.
Know who I am.
Yeah, people know who you are. All good. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you.
There we go. You want to be part of the show? We're talking about all these things. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can be part of the show that way. And what we're talking about tonight is this social credit stuff. We're talking about China has lowered the number of hours people, kids in particular, actually not just people, but kids can play online video games only 3 hours a week, 1 hour each day on weekends or holidays. And that's it. And not only that, not just 1 hour. It's actually limited to between 8 and 9 p.m. their time. So they only have 1 hour. 1 hour. You see what's going on here, right? So imagine when your day is dictated by what you can do and how much you can do it. And not only that, told you what time you can do it at. Yes, right? You see? You see what I'm saying? It's like I said, it seems like there's an argument here, but I think the argument is the largest part, meaning this. The argument that's most important to me. Do you think the government should be able to dictate what you do with your time, even if you are destructive to yourself and it's not a healthy habit you have with whatever you're doing with said time? It's the question. I think it's a big question. I think there are big implications here, and that's why we're going to keep talking about it. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, D-Live, YouTube, and Periscope, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. We're taking your phone calls tonight. The question on my mind is this. Should the government be able to interfere in your free time? Should they be able to tell your kids how much of this or that you can or cannot do? And should they be so invasive in your life that they can actually control it? That's right. China has said that video games can only be played for 1 hour per day on the weekends or holidays for people under 18 years old. Can you believe this? So I get it, right? And I understand it's a multi-layer argument here, and I think there are layers that kind of go downward when you're talking about this, that kind of digress the situation, and there are layers that go upward, meaning that we can disagree on some minor points here. But do you honestly think about it? Think about anything you do, right? Think about this show. What if the government only allowed me to stream 1 day per week, right? And they were like, wait, too much, Michael Strange, way too much. You're putting some information out there we don't like. We're not going to frame it that way. We're going to just tell you, for your own mental health, you shouldn't be allowed to stream so much online every week. You see what I'm saying? It starts to crack down into other areas, and it becomes censorship. It becomes censorship of thought, expression, and like I said, do we run our own lives or do we not? That's the question here. And that's part of the problem, right? I think that that's where this conversation continues and comes in. A couple things, too. Let me talk about this. As I said, we are taking your phone calls at 702-957-1037. And do you think the government should be that invested in your personal life? All right? I mean, isn't it enough in this country? Like I said, don't get me started on taxes. But the tax burden is such that I think it's put in place so we can't easily succeed. Because if we could, we would have time and resources to make our own lobbying firms and get together and spend time actually asking the government for more from them. Not more for us from the government, more for the government to do the right things, right? And you see, I think it's part of the game. I think it's part of the angles and why they're kind of pinning us down. It's not quite boot on the neck. But like I said, if you're looking for your dystopian future, well, it's coming. It's definitely coming. All right, so there's more here, right? Here's another one. I'm going to link this real quick. Tons of articles here. Like I said, just search China and see what's going on. And I get it. I understand the argument that probably a lot of this is propaganda. Yeah, it may be exaggerated. It may be a lot of different things. But I do not think that all this is straight up false. I don't think so. I'm willing to. Actually, if you guys want to make that case, I'm willing to hear it. All right. As always, I'm willing to hear whatever. I think that's the thing. That's my point, because I think you as an individual should be able to think for yourself. I think you should be able to take the things we're discussing and make up your own mind, because you're different than me. We're different from each other. But damn it, understand, just because we're different doesn't mean we can't get along. Doesn't mean we can't want the best for people. All right. It's, Again, that's where they play us against each other. We're different, right? We're different. Yeah, no kidding. There's nobody just like me and there's nobody just like you. So get over it and let's get on with the things that matter, not this red team, blue team crap. I'm tired of that. All right? So anyway, here we go. There's more social credit stuff. From fragmentation towards integration. They're talking about Night Stalker asked, well, how would you even track that? Well, they track it because they know exactly who's logged in at any given moment. And they required you to do the fingerprints and, short of basically the retina scan. That's what they require. They have to know. You can't log into your parents' account because then it looks suspicious, right? And that's what they're cracking down on. So you tell me. Because the parent will log in and say, "Here, kid, play. Leave me alone. I got some work to do. Working overtime here." And then the kid's playing video games on his parent's account. Well, guess what? They can track the work the parent's doing. So if they're doing work and playing video games at the same time, well, gotcha. Anyway, it's not the point. I mean, it is the point, but it's not the point. Here we go. This is from actually 1984, right? And this is what I was describing earlier when I said, if a country does away with their laws, right? It seems like a sort of a chaotically benevolent thing, right? I think that's the deal. I think that if they, for instance, let's go to this. This is straight from 1984, and it's quotes from Winston Smith, who's the actual the person. Let's see. Here you go. Here's book 1, chapter 2. Quotes. It was almost normal for people over 30 to be frightened of their own children. And with good reason, right? For hardly a week passed in which the Times did not carry a paragraph describing how some eavesdropping little sneak or a child hero, was the phrase generally used, had overheard some compromising remark and denounced his parents to the thought police. So once again, do you think if Jimmy's playing more video games than Johnny's not going to tell on him, right? Especially when you're talking about the government involved and maybe you get a raise for reporting somebody, right? Because all of that stuff is integrated. Maybe everybody's always, because the government has a boot on everybody's neck, everybody's trying to breathe a little easier. And guess how you do? You report your neighbor. That's how you breathe a little easier. And so the boot eases up. You're trying to gain points so you can breathe. You understand? This is toxic. This is bad. So here we go. There's more. Let's see. Where is it? There's a fantastic thing here. Let's see. Now, tons of good stuff here. Like, if you just look at some of this 1984 stuff is so chilling that we're seeing it. It's happening before our very eyes. Like I said, if you want your dystopian future, check out China. Just check some China news. They're telling it exactly what's going on here. Let's see. Frightened of their own children. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. We got a lot of good stuff here. Okay. Anyway, I'll get to this in the third hour because I can spend a little more time just goofing around here. But point being, okay. So think of it this way. If China removes all the laws and says, well, we want you to be able to do what you want to do. We don't want to be punitive with all this stuff, right? And so everything becomes not required. Well, then all they have to do is link into this social credit system, and it doesn't have to be required. It becomes mandatory, except, right, you're still not allowed to do what you want to do. And then the thing is, if you start to remove all the laws on the books, what happens? You also remove due process as a result. You see? You got to be careful. You have to be careful of these things. It's like I said, it's a doublethink. It's a newspeak. It's the terms they're trying to use, and I think that we have to pay attention to this, and that's kind of my point. So there's more here. There's a lot more here. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So all right. So boot on the neck is where I left off. There's more here. Hold on. Let's just burn through some of this. Just some headlines from China that I did today as I was just cruising, looking for, okay, how do we do this? What's up, guys? I see you there. How is everybody in the chat? Like I said, I'm talking to the chat, not the voices in my head. All right. So here we go. Social engineering to be a good little slave, says Sapuku there. Okay, so here's another one. China urges nations to actively guide Taliban government. All right, there's a connection there. What's going on with that? China's like, hey, you're our new best friend. Let's hang out. What's going on with that? Something there, right? So I don't know. I'm not sure. This is what I'm saying. Like they're active in everything. Here we go. Here's another one. MSN.com. Facing China squeeze, Taiwan launches English language news platform. Because, of course, they can't say what they want to say. Because if they can't get it to a Chinese-speaking audience without all the censorship, well, then we have another problem entirely, don't we? And that's what I'm saying here. It's not just kind of like Night Stalker said earlier. It doesn't become as simple as just video games. You're censoring online communities, all right? And again, we're back to the beginning here. We're just talking about how China cuts amount of time minors can spend playing online video games. It has nothing to do with their parents. Their parents can't override this. This becomes a mandate. This becomes, yeah, that's right, a dictatorship of sorts. And that's what I mean. So I think the question becomes this, the larger question. Are we allowed to make our own mistakes? Right? That's the question. Are we allowed to make our own mistakes? And it seems simple, doesn't it? It seems pretty simple. But what if the government doesn't have time for our mistakes? What do you think happens to you? What do you think happens if you go afoul of China's social credit system? That becomes the scary part. Because, of course, as you know, as I stated earlier, we're all different. We're all different. And that's good. That should be celebrated. We should be discussing things as different people, different individuals, not groups based on what the government tells us. Oh, you're this many year old, this skin colored, this sexual orientation, this color party, right? Like that's how they think of us, as these cattle that they can put into these boxes. And yeah, it's not okay. It's not good. So anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think as we continue talking about this? Like I said, I'm okay if you guys are like, Mike, you're overreacting. I'm okay with that. If you think that there aren't larger implications here like I'm describing. But if not, like I said, there's a conversation to be had. And it's not, I think the important part, and the reason I want to bring it up, and I will continue to bring it up from time to time when something like this hits the news, I want to bring it up because I don't want us to forget, all right, that these simple things, when they change, they seem like simple things, okay? But it's not. Because it's the first step to the next step. And then the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And like I said, that boot on your neck becomes awfully uncomfortable. And it becomes very difficult to breathe. As we know, as we've seen. And I'm not going to bring that up. But it's the history of governments the world over. And it's unfortunate. So, I don't know. You guys tell me. What's up, Rolf? I see you in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. So here we go. So that they limited it. So just going to burn through some of this stuff here. So facing a China squeeze, Taiwan launches English language news platform, right? So Taiwan launched an English language news and media streaming platform on Monday, aiming to give it a greater voice on the world stage and help to tackle Beijing's squeeze of the Chinese claimed island on the world stage. Like I said, you can't stream in China without them knowing exactly who you are. Fingerprints, social security number, whatever the Chinese version of that is, the whole deal. They have to have pictures of your face to get approved to stream on their sites. You see? Because they're tracking everything you say. And because if you're a dissident, like I said, what do you think happens to people that run afoul of this thing? And again, so I'm not, you got to understand also, by the way, it's a word of caution for the future. Okay, it's not let's gang pile on China. All right, though there's some horrific things happening there. I'm just saying, pay attention, because these are the types of things when they start leaking into our society and even cheered by people in our society. You see, that's the scary part. That's the scary part when this actually starts to happen. So yeah, all right, let's keep on trucking with some of this stuff. Like I said, looking to hear from you if you want to be part of the show. We got about 15 minutes left on Fringe, and then we have a third hour after that to take plenty of time to take your calls and kind of have these conversations. As like I said, I'm not afraid of this. Like so many, like I said when we started, so many people they type the dirty on the internet and then they run away, right? Call me. It's okay. It's fine. There's no fire and brimstone Mike tonight. I'm doing my best not to be that guy. I can, though. If you want me to go off the rails in the third hour, I'm more than willing to do that and shake my fist and freak out about this. But I think it's important to think about, like I said, the implications of this. Okay, so there we go. So because not only are they, like I said, streaming in China is nearly impossible without them, again, tracking everything you do and everything you say. And what would they call that? Of course, that would be the Ministry of Truth. Ministry of Truth. And they would actually have people in China listening to these streaming sites like this, like we're doing right now. We're streaming on, like I said, all the platforms we stream on. There would people be actively monitoring us. Not with algorithms, maybe algorithms first, but then there would be people that would come to your door, tap, tap, tap. Michael Strange, you've been saying some things you shouldn't be saying. You get it? This is the way this goes. Like I said, pay attention, because when it comes to us, here we go. Here's more. And like I stated earlier, there's reasons for these things, and reasons for these big governments to not want robust middle classes and this stuff, because this is why. Here's another one. This is from CNN, and the most trusted source of news. And it goes a little something like this. The headline reads, "Why is the Communist Party clamping down on China's biggest stars and fan clubs?" And there it is, right? There it is. Once you start looking further into this, you start to realize exactly like I described about the middle class. If you have resources and you have time, then you have power. Okay? You can organize, you can do all kinds of things. But if you have no resources and no time, what do you have? The government to back you up. You have nothing, right? And that's the point here. And so this one says, why are they cracking down on these people? Why do you think? Exactly like I said, they have resources and they have time. And they have followings. You see? Here we go. The crackdown came quickly and sweepingly, wiping out some of China's biggest stars and fan clubs in a matter of days. Over the past week, China's entertainment industry has become the latest to fall into the crosshairs of the ruling Communist Party following Xi Jinping's clampdown on political dissent, social activism, ideological liberalism, and private businesses. Zhao Wei, one of China's most prominent actresses, saw her presence mostly scrubbed from the country's internet overnight. You see what I'm saying, people? Her fan page on Weibo, W-E-I-B-O, China's heavily censored version of Twitter, was shut down. Movies and television shows she starred in, some going as far back as 2 decades ago, were taken off streaming platforms, with her name also removed from the cast lists. You see what's going on here? Is this funny? I laugh morbidly. This is not funny. This is where this leads. When you have to ask the government permission to say anything. This is the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. Here we go. Okay, so the broadcasters and video sites also removed the works of Zheng Shuang, another top Chinese actress who was fined $46 million for tax evasion on Friday. You think that's punitive? Weird. So Zheng had been caught in a surrogacy scandal earlier this year after her estranged partner accused her of abandoning their 2 babies in the United States. Abandoning. Yeah, I don't know the details, but if she left him in the United States, maybe there was a reason for that, outside of the reach of the Communist Party, as it were. Right? There you go. I don't know. Like I said, this type of thing is just don't let it creep up on us, guys. Don't let it creep up. Pay attention. Like I said, we're going to keep talking about this from time to time because it's important to understand what exactly is going on. Because that's the deal. That's what's going on here. So, all right, what else do we have? The erasure came as a list of misbehaving celebrities reportedly blacklisted by China's broadcast authorities circulated on social media on Thursday. Zhao and Zheng were both on the list, as well as Chinese-Canadian pop star Chris Wu, who was arrested on suspicion of rape this month. It was not immediately clear why Zhao was targeted. CNN has reached out to her agent for comment. And of course, you think they're going to get a comment? Of course not, because then the agent is in the crosshairs. No. You see, it's funny, not funny. It's funny, not funny. This is what we're dealing with. A list of misbehaving celebrities. So when they say, careful, you might end up on a government list. Do you see why people freak out? There you go. Matt's got it right. In 1984, they call it being vaporized. They just drop you into that memory hole. Removed from credits, TV shows you starred in, all your social media, gone. Gone. Is that terrifying? Remember, this is all at the behest of the government. The same one that wants to keep you safe from your addictive video game habits. You see what's happening here? And that's what I mean. These things without context become maybe one-offs. But when you start to add context, and it seems to be, that's right, a conspiracy. A conspiracy of a dictatorship. Right? Against what? Against what? Humanity, the individual. That's right. Against you. Now, does that seem okay to you? What does that seem like? Like I said, and I'm going to keep saying it, it seems not okay to me. And if you let this creep into society now, like I said, once they take it, they don't give it back. And so you have to be ever vigilant of what's going on around us, right? Would you, like all kinds of mandates and all the rest of this? We got problems, don't we? And that's why I talk about this stuff. Like I said, I know it's not as sexy as aliens or the paranormal or any of the rest of the stuff we talk about. Like I said, sometimes we talk about the nature of the universe. All right? We talk about all kinds of things. But if we're always staring at the stars, which is not a bad thing, I don't think you can be addicted to that, in my opinion. But if we're always staring at the stars, we're missing what's happening right in front of us. Like anything, all right? I believe the Chinese way of too much of one thing can be bad. However, I don't believe it should be my boot on your neck to stop you. Seems simple enough, doesn't it? Seems that way to me. But I don't know. I think that's exactly what's going on with this. Is like I said, the whole the war on the middle class. If you got time and resources, then you can become powerful. And not like powerful like rule the world. I mean powerful like band with your neighbors. Make your own, quote, super PACs. The super PACs of the common person. You see? But if we're constantly struggling just to make ends meet and pay our taxes, that brand of person no longer exists. And I think that's the issue here. I think that's part of why, like I said, I do my best not to do this stuff all the time. Like I said, I understand it's not as sexy. It's a little bit depressing, but I think we have to pay attention. And so that's why. So please forgive me on that count that I think, like I said, because nobody's talking about it, I think somebody needs to. And so we will. And I know I say nobody. I don't mean that. Of course, there's good people out there talking about this. However, I don't think there are enough people talking about this. And so that's what I mean. Okay. And so, yeah, as we finish, I don't know, like, as always, I'm not here to dictate thoughts into your head. I'm here to kind of kick those ideas out and get together and have that conversation and ask, am I over the line in saying China shouldn't do this? Or is China over the line in trying to dictate minutes by day of what their citizens do? I think that's the problem here. And yeah. So I don't know. I think that's part of the problem, and that's why we discussed it. And as always, you guys know the drill. I'm not here trying to, like I said, do any of those things. And I'm also not running. I'm not going to just make the dirty comment on Twitter and run and hide. I don't do that either. I got an open phone line. I'm here 4 days a week, even more than that, because I do the Twitch show at least 5 days a week. Sometimes I do extra shows on the weekend, all the time with an open line, because it's important. It's important, guys. It's okay. Like I say, it's one thing to say, people get together and stop being mean to each other. It's one thing. It's another thing entirely to show and prove that it can be done. Like I said, I'm not afraid, and I'm not hiding. So let's get together and have these conversations and be on the ball and understand the implications of things like this when they happen. So that's that. Like I said, as we finish here tonight, I appreciate each and every one of you listening, hanging out with us. As I always say, you could be doing a million other things right now. Playing video games, for one. Maybe you are. Maybe you're doing two things at once. But thank you for listening. It does matter. And as we complete the trip here, 2 orbits around the hour, if you're listening to The Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening to Troubled Minds on any of the streaming platforms or the podcast feed, stay tuned for a 3rd hour of Troubled Minds. And be sure, be strong, be true. Like I said, thank you for all the thoughtful chat, all the fantastic calls. And thanks again. From our Troubled Minds to yours, thank you for listening, and have a great night. All right, what's up, guys? 3rd hour coming up. What's up, Tam Bam says, I'm so done with this world. No, easy. You got your people here. You're with your people. And the reason we bring it up and talk about it is because we just have to pay attention to what's going on around us. It's an important concept. You're with your people, Tam Bam. It's okay. There are other people out there that are like you, and they will reject these notions, and that's okay. What's going on, guys? How is everybody? Let's see. We got Roberts there in the chat. Appreciate you guys being super active in the chat. What's up, Ronald? I see you guys there. White Rider, Vicky Condor, and Mike 33. Yeah. Everybody in the French chat saying great show. Appreciate it, guys. So here's the deal. We're going to go 3rd hour of Troubled Minds coming up. And if you want to be part of the show, phone number is going to be up here, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Phone number is right there. You can't miss it. I'm going to step away for just a couple minutes as we take a break, and we'll be right back. So 2-minute break, and then more Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Oops, unmute myself helps. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're talking about China, the social credit score. We're talking about them cracking down on kids playing video games, all right? Now, like I said, I don't think the conversation is as simple as, well, sure, a lot of video games are unhealthy. No, sure, fine, yes, I agree. Too much of anything is unhealthy, right? Too much oxygen can kill you, all right? Pure oxygen can kill you. And this is what I'm saying. Too much of anything. And so, yes, definitely, too many video games, especially for children, is bad. Okay? But again, the conversation lies in, do you think the government should meddle in that? And I think, now here's actually, let's go a little bit woo-woo. Let's go a little metaphysical on this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, Austin and I, and he was, again, we have these great conversations after Troubled Minds. If you guys are missing out on those, there's a ton of amazing people that jump in after we do the show. And sometimes these conversations go on all damn night. Ask James. James knows. He's been out there listening. Sometimes he stays up all night with us and just talks about this stuff. And we have some amazing conversations. But think of it this way. If being a person and ascending your consciousness to whatever level it needs to be, right? Wherever your goal is, if somebody's dictating your time and your thoughts and all those things, you understand what they're doing is the war is on your consciousness. The war is on your soul. It's not even about the boot on the neck anymore. It's about the literally trapping your soul in a void of sorts that you can't escape. And I think that's part of the issue here. Like, think of it in terms of that. Like, think of it as like a spiritual journey, okay? And so if we have spent who knows how much time, right? Just all this journey to become a better person, a more loving person to ourselves and to other people, right? All of those things are based on our choices. Not always our circumstances and all the rest of this, okay? But this is what I'm saying. Do you think that this war on our consciousness should be allowed to continue? And that's what I'm talking about, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not as simple as just the government. Clearly, that's tyranny. But what about tyranny of the soul? What about tyranny of consciousness and your ability to spend your time the way you see fit and ascend properly, religiously or otherwise? That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Welcome to Troubled Minds. I appreciate you guys hanging out and with all the thoughtful comments. Let's go to, I'm not sure who this is. Let's find out. What's going on? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, it's me?
You're up. What's your first name, my friend?
Oh, it's Rolf Stark from Albany, New York.
Rolf, what's up, my man? How are you?
Hey, Mike, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well.
You know, I remember the first time I called you. What?
I'm doing well. Go right ahead.
I remember the first time I called you when Frank was on, and I was freaking out over, what was going on then, and I was a little ahead of myself, and here we are. This is real. They're doing it.
It's happening. Like, then it was theorycraft. We were like, this is coming. Be careful, this is coming. And now they're like, yep. Oh yeah, by the way, it's here. So the trick becomes to not let it be here in our lap. That's the trick, right? What do you think about what I said there regarding, you can take it anywhere you want, but is this a war on your spirit, on your soul, on your consciousness and your ability to ascend in those terms? That's what it seems to me.
Oh, it is. It's 100% true. And I'm not saying it's aliens that are involved with this because it's on such a huge scale. It's on a planetary scale.
Yeah. And that's where the fight becomes, right? Yeah. Unfortunately.
Well, if you look at everything that's going on right now in this world with all this shit going on, it's just mind-boggling. And I mean, if you take a self like you and myself and everybody that has a normal mind, I don't know, but we have a thought, and we're looking at this world and seeing what is going on. It's beyond humanity. This is an invasion that those that created us want to take us, and they're trying to take us out.
Exactly. And not just that, like break our will, so that there's nothing left to kind of punch back with, and I mean punch back peacefully, punch back through government means, punch back the way we can. Again, as you know me, I'm not into violence or any of the rest of that. So it's an important distinction to make. But once a will is broken, that's right. That's what they do to prisoners. That's what they do to soldiers. Right? They break you first, and then they can remake you in the form that they want you to be. And I think that's step one, is breaking our will. And then step two is, your social credit score and this stuff from China.
Well, China's behind all of this. And now they got this play what they're going to play like they're going to stand up against China. It's all theatrical. But the sad thing is they're doing it and we're living it. And it's like, what do you do? How do you fight this? You can't fight this. This is what they do.
I think you can fight this.
We can sit here and talk about it.
No. I don't think so. Man. I don't think so. The idea is...
How do we fight it, Mike?
Well, exactly like we're doing. It doesn't seem like we're doing anything, but think about all the talk we've done, right? All the things. We're not the only ones. We can't save the world single-handedly. We can't do it. It's impossible. However, like I said, I truly believe just because you can't change it yourself doesn't mean you can't inspire the person that will. And we got to keep punching, man. We got to keep thinking. We got to keep being thoughtful and care about people as a whole. Whereas, these governments don't. That's part of the problem. That's part of my issue with again, layering on policy after bad policy after bad policy after bad policy, and never looking back and saying, oh, by the way, all that shit we did years ago was broken, but we're too stupid or lazy to admit it, or it's so politically convenient to just leave it there and pretend like it never happened. Those laws are on the books now. Like I said, once they take them, they never give them back. And that's part of the problem. But I'm okay. I'm okay not saving the world. But what I want to be is maybe I say something to you, Rolf, and maybe you say something to somebody else while you're driving, and whatever's going on out there, you say something to somebody else, and it triggers a chain reaction. Mm-hmm. And that chain reaction becomes a positive spark in the world. And you understand. So if we're putting out enough positive sparks, I think we can. I disagree with
Amen,
you.
Brother.
I think
you're
so.
Right.
Go ahead. Sorry. It's hard because we get a little bit of delay, so we talk over each other. But go ahead. Your thoughts, my friend.
Sorry. No, you're right. You're 100% right. That even though I feel like I can talk to my neighbor and say, hey, what, and they were like, wow, I'm fully vaccinated or whatever. But at the same time, I said, well, you may be, but you're still going to get this. You're still going to get that. You're still going to go through this. You're still going to go through that. They're still going to do this. They're still going to do that. You're 100% right, Mike. And it's sad. It's sad. I know people before this shit happened, and now they're like, I don't even know them anymore. It's like alien.
Like I was saying,
they're going to do this.
Yeah. That's part of the division, right?
They're going to do it.
Yeah, they want us in different camps
you're
constantly.
Right about this.
Go ahead.
Exactly. You're right about the fact that, even though we may talk to 5 or 10 or 20 people, as long as we get it out there and just let them know. Because it sucks to be the person, no, it doesn't suck, but it sucks to be the person that knows what's going on, and those that you thought knew what was going on, they're intelligent, thought they were intelligent, and now they're just succumbed by this wave of, just do what they tell you, do this, do that, and everything's going to be fine. And it's not going to be fine. And they keep showing us this time after time. It's been a year and a half, and they still are saying, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to get this, you got to get that. And it's like, China is the worst enemy for the world.
And they would be happy taking over all of it, wouldn't they?
Oh, they're trying. They're trying.
They're trying. Joe in Florida says communism is soulless, one mind, no individual, and the CCP will assimilate you. And I kind of agree.
Yep.
Resistance is futile. They are the Borg, right? They're the Borg.
Yep. Well, that's what the this is the sad thing when we have a government in America, United States government, to not even give a freak about the American people. All they care about is what they want, and they want total control, total control over everybody, and they want to get rid of everybody that does not agree with them, and we're seeing it right now.
Yeah, agreed. But again, right, so back to the video game stuff, just to kind of tie it all back, do you think video games in and of themselves are dangerous, or is it the communities in the video games? What's going on with this? Why is China trying to step in and control how many hours a week kids play video games?
That's a question I haven't. Let me think about that. Why would they want to control video games? Because they know that video games are a controlling factor mentally. They can control the children. But why are they not wanting them to play video games? Because maybe the video games are against what they want. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that's correct. And not only that, it's like I said, it's a war on consciousness, meaning that the things we talk about here, even if you don't believe werewolves, vampires, aliens, and all the stuff we're talking about, it's still a way to expand your mind to consider new things. But if they try and stamp those things down, like I said, it becomes a spiritual war. The boot is not just on your neck, it becomes your soul trapped in that void. Ascension is no longer possible because they've controlled even that. And so if you can't derive value from yourself and your own struggles and your own triumphs from those struggles, then, well, what have they done? They've robbed you of a human spirit. They've robbed you of a human life. And so that's what they're after, I think. That's what this is all about, my opinion.
Yeah, no, I see that because through the internet and you can play the video games, they want to control what you play, what you do, what you think, what you feel. Because if you are allowed to go out and just play a game that goes, play a war game or something, and you're fighting the enemy, they think that you're fighting them. They don't want you to fight them. They want you to be with them. They don't want you to play the video game. They want you to watch the cartoons that says, do what we tell you, do what we tell you, do what we tell you. You're going to die. You're going to die if you don't do this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's great.
Yep. Get you gripped in that cradle of fear. Yeah, exactly right.
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah. Don't forget, Rolf. Don't despair. See, remember, we were talking about they want to break your spirit. Don't despair, man. You keep throwing out positive sparks. Keep doing your best to do the right thing all the time. And I'm telling you, there's some positive out there left for us. We just need to keep smiling, keep laughing at ourselves because we all make mistakes, and keep being positive about the world we live in, man. Don't let these knuckleheads break your spirit. They're not worth it. All right? You promise me we can try that?
You know it. Mike,
right.
You're 100% on that because they keep trying to break our spirits. They keep trying to break our will and forthright of life and liberty and justice. The criminals are here. They're in charge, and we're witnessing it. And I'm just sitting there thinking, well, where's the good guys? Where's the good guys? And they're silent. They're not silent. They're just doing stuff that they don't project and tell everybody, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to be this, we're going to be that. Have faith. You're right, Mike. And I agree 100%. Even when we feel that the war's lost, it's just begun.
Yes,
We're
sir.
winning.
Yes, sir.
Winning.
Just don't despair is the biggest thing. Don't despair. That's how they win. Like Richard said in the chat a little while ago, he said the only way they win is if we all lay down. And no, keep talking. Keep spreading those sparks, my man. We got calls behind you, so we got to go. You're the best, Rolf. Thank you for re-engaging and reconnecting with this show, man. It's a pleasure to have you back here. Thanks a lot.
I love your show, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for contributing. Thanks for participating. Have a great night. Simple as that, right? Simple as that. You want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. James, I see you there. Hang tight. We'll get you in the caller queue. We got Robert on the phone just before you, and we'll get to you in just a moment. Thank you for being patient. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Doing very well. Go right ahead, sir. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I'm going to be a bit optimistic.
Sure. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Just kidding. Go right ahead.
I follow this stuff pretty heavily. All right. Because it's something my father drummed into my brain from a kid on up. Know your enemy. All right. And if you know if you can determine what they're up to, you can stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of them. All right. Now, what's going over in China, and what everybody's getting their bowels all over in this game business, all that is showing how desperate the CCP is, to quickly gain as much control over their citizens as possible, because they're trying to put their fingers in the dike. There's 2 things going on in China right now. All right, all this prosperity brought on to the citizens of China, the workers of China, is now peaked. All right, the wages are not keeping up. The wages are not keeping up with the debt, because the Chinese encourage their citizens to go into tremendous debt. All right, to maintain that comfortable lifestyle, that middle class, upper middle class lifestyle, but it's on a weak foundation. Secondly, real estate. China, the real estate market in China is in free fall. All right, there was too much of it, and that's why you see there's a whole lot of empty buildings over in China. Right, that real estate is all in a debt. All right, that's all to the Central Bank of China that's owed, and it's all going to collapse. So what you're going to see, probably within the next 2 years, is what happened to Japan in the 90s, where the Japanese economy collapsed. I remember back in the 80s, the Japanese were buying up Rockefeller Center. They were buying up all the United States, everything in the United States, and everybody was, we're gonna soon be owned by the Japanese. That economy collapsed because of the same thing that's going on in China, and the Japanese still haven't completely recovered from that when that happened. All right, so that kind of the idea that there's going to be some kind of Chinization of America is so far-fetched. It's just impossible that it could ever happen here in this country. And don't get me wrong, there are certainly elements in this country that are trying to do, a totalitarian type of switch our government from democracy to a totalitarianism, but it can't work here. All right. For one thing, we talk about how the media has and has split people into groups, and we're all against each other and all that sort of stuff. It's not quite like that either. It's not as bad as you think, because the left hates the government too. Matter of fact, the left, which is supposed to be associated with the Democratic Party, hates the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
right.
You're right.
The right,
you're totally
also hates. Right, the right also hates the government. All right, we're all waking up to this now. That's and the most key factor in that, the way you can really find the truth of that, where it's really at, where the signal's strong, is the decline of the mainstream media. Nobody's watching them anymore, because what you talk about repeating something over and over and over again, a lie over and over and over again, like Goebbels used to do in Nazi Germany, to convince people that something that is a lie is the truth. It doesn't work anymore, because when they went too far with the Trump stuff. Now most people have woke up to that. The only people that are still dedicated to the mainstream media are the upper middle class and above, all right? Because they're not touched by what's going on beneath them, you know, with the working class and stuff like that there. But the thing is, there are no private ownerships of guns in China.
Exactly.
Right? There are more guns. There are more guns in our country than there are people.
Damn right.
And people say, "Oh, well, what are they going to be a good? How are they going to be good against a military that comes after its own? The military is not going to come after its own people. All right. That the ones who are worried about that are the very elites who are trying to strangle our democracy. All right, and rob this country of all the wealth that was built up in my grandfather and my father's generation. They've been getting away with it, but now it's so, you know, it's you know, they no longer, since when they started, you know, when they stopped trying to conceal what they were doing. I mean, they do it blatantly now. All right, we all woke up to that. All right, the idea that the government's going to be able to control what we say and do. Look at you. All right. The idea that Facebook's going to control you, all right, you just showed them they can't. All right, Facebook is with Google. Google owns Facebook. All right, they're lockstep with the government. All right, with the censorship and stuff. You showed them it's not going to work, and if it ain't going to work for you, if it can't work for you, if they can't do that to you, they can't do that to anybody. Anybody in this country.
I like the way you think, man. And it's true. It's true. Like I said in the beginning of this, right? Like the quote from Princess Leia. I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan. She said, Darth Vader, the tighter you squeeze your grip, the more systems will slip through your fingers. And that's exactly what this is about, isn't it?
And that grip has, it no longer is a firm grip. The grip is weakening. That grip, everything's already squeezed out. The grip is weakening. We've reached a tipping point in our country, all right, where everything is going to start moving back to where the people are really going to take charge. All right, don't get me wrong, it's not tomorrow, all right, but maybe October 15th might be the big start, because there's supposed to be a nationwide labor strike.
Really? I didn't know that.
October 15th.
Where's that being organized?
Yep.
Any idea?
Worker strike.
You got a website for us?
Well, I'll put it in the Discord a little later. I don't have it right now.
Sure.
All right, but I know that it's going to happen.
Okay. All right.
Because I follow other Rockfin celebrities besides yourself. All right, and I know it's going to happen. I just can't be confident that it's going to be large enough.
Right, exactly, right? And that's the point. Because they're dividing the hell out of us, and that's why. Some of us will be like, no, we want this. Some of us will be, no, we want that, because that's what we're told. But in reality, many of us, the vast majority, 90% plus, want the same things. So we just need to unite and say, damn it, we want these things, right? This is how we need it to be, and it will become that way. But that's part of the problem. That's part of why we've always done this show. You know, you get it, man. You get it. It's about coming together. If there's not enough people that step up on that day, do it again. Make it bigger next time. Do it again. Make it bigger next time. Do it again and get more people involved and more people behind it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll tell you what might be the linchpin. 6 million people thrown out of their homes to the sidewalk.
Yes, sir.
That's happening now. All right, that may be the lynch point. I mean, we have enough homeless as it is. All right, so what is it, 300,000 homeless people just in California alone. All right, we have enough of that. All right, when you add 6 million more to that, and we're talking families, we're not talking just individual families thrown out of their homes to the sidewalk. That's where I think is going to be the final straw, the catalyst that makes both sides come together.
Hopefully, man.
It's impossible. Now, have you noticed that the mainstream media is not even covering that?
They're
not
scared to
even
death.
mentioning a word.
They are
about
scared to death of it. Yes,
Right.
you are correct. Yes. They're scared to death of a lot of things. A lot of things, man. They avoid it like the plague.
The things are, right. I'm just saying, it's you can't put people, a people that's used to freedom, you can't put them in such a vice and squeeze everything you can out of them, all right, until you kill them, all right? You're going to maybe be able to squeeze until where they're losing their breath, but once they start losing their breath, once they think, this is going to kill, that's when things change. And I think that this is going to be the year that really starts it all.
Let's hope so.
We're not going to wind up under totalitarianism because we have people like you. We have listeners. Your listeners. You can just realize that that's a majority of the country. Same kind of majority of the country. If they knew about your program, would be watching your program. All right, because that's what we're tuning into. That's what we're listening to. We're seeing the other side. We're seeing we're seeing somebody understand things enough to clear the bullshit. All right, and tell us we're worth being here. We have a right to be here. We have a right to live a good life. It's not something that's socialism or communism or even capitalism. It's a right. It's a fundamental right as a human being living in this country not to be oppressed like that. And people are coming together. And a part of that march, I know some of the backers of that, the people that are responsible for getting that organized, are reaching out to both sides. They're meeting them on the streets. They're talking to them. So we'll see. We'll see how that works.
Good.
I'm going to get off now because you've got other listeners, other callers. So I just want everybody to don't worry. Things are going to be all right because the American people are going to take things into their own hands, and it's not going to be bloody. It's just going to be done.
Amen. Amen, brother. Robert, great stuff as always. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling.
Bye.
Have a great night. There you go. There you go. I can't say I disagree. Like, he's right. But hear what he said? All the isms, right? Like, we find ourselves stuck in all the isms, right? The capitalism, the socialism, the communism, this, that, the other thing. They want us fighting. But like you said, at some point, our right is to be able to live a good life. It's not just us, right? Once we get it straight, it needs to be the world over. This needs to be a revolution, guys. Like they always say, right, on MTV back in the old days, if you guys remember, the revolution will not be televised. Of course not. Because, well, then it has the media behind it. And then it's not a revolution. There you go. All right. Thanks for being patient, guys. There we go. Let's see. Okay. Reading the chat. Trying to catch up with you guys. We've had James waiting for a very long time. Let's get James. Let's go to James. James Salcedo. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's ours, my friend. What's on your mind?
Well, this all kind of makes me think, and I know you mentioned earlier how everyone's different. Something that you don't always hear about is how these things will affect people with disabilities of all kinds. And how those kind of rules would affect everybody, no matter what is, their situation is. I mean, how are you going to set rules about exercising for people that can't exercise in the way you want? What are you going to do to those people? You know what I mean?
Oh, you're onto it. You went straight to it, my friend. You know what the Spartans did? They threw you away. That's what.
Yeah. It's such a. I mean, and I'm not saying that people, everyone does this, but you hardly ever hear anything mentioned about people with any kind of disabilities.
Yeah. Well, unless they can politicize it for Yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's it.
Money for their program so that they can supposedly help people.
Yep. Exactly, and that's the thing. They'll throw an anecdote out there and be like, "Look at how just brutal and rough the medical system is," and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But they cherry picked the thing. There's tons of things like that. There's tons of things, but they cherry picked the one that made the most sense for their political narrative. And if you don't believe me, just go watch the news. Pay attention. Some people die and they don't give a shit. They don't care, right? Again. What are the headlines? The headlines are like, this many Americans dead in that suicide attack. Yeah, tragic. You know how many actual Afghanis died as well? How many? 90, 100, something like that? Nobody gave a shit. And this is what I'm saying. And it's not me, it's not you. So not anybody listening. I get it. But what I'm saying is there are certain factions of this world that only give a damn about people dying if they can politicize it. Otherwise, they could give a damn. They do not care. And like I said, what happens to people like you? What happens to people that have disabilities? What happens to people that do not toe the line? What do you think happens to them in China?
Oh, or in any place that starts having rules like that, they're just going to get steamrolled. That's just going to be done. But I think getting back to the more positive side of this is I guess this is just a message to anybody out there. Don't forget all those people. And try to talk with them about all this and include them because I'm legally blind and I know there are times when that really makes me feel like I can't, do as much as other people can. It's just any kind of disability can be a very isolating thing.
Yeah,
and
you feel alone.
I think
you feel alone. I get it.
So it's important, I think, for everybody to reach out to everybody else in that situation, in any kind of situation like that. Because I think once you start talking to them, you will learn more, not only about them, but about the things they don't know. Because some disabilities make it hard to get information. And, so it's not that maybe some people out there that have one disability or another don't care. It's just that it's not as easy for them to get information.
Right. And once again, like I said previously, we're all different.
Yeah. And that's part of what got me thinking about that was that what you said.
And it's a good thing.
So, yes.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the thing. And again, politically, they're like, oh, we need to celebrate our diversity, except for those guys. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, we need to celebrate diversity, except for those guys, right? There's always an agenda.
Oh, yeah.
There's always an agenda. Like I said, watch for the except those guys, the caveats, the asterisks, and the fine print.
Yes.
Because that's what the media is made of. Like, celebrate diversity, however. let us tell you more.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, man. And this is the thing. Do you not have a right just the same to have a good life like all the rest of us, like Robert said?
Oh, yeah. And
yes, you do.
Like I said, I think part of it has to be including everyone like that in the conversation. I mean, and just spreading information and with them all. I mean, so yeah, I think that's all important. I think if you can do that, you'll have a huge, base of people that are willing to talk and to help if they can, and to spread the word if they can get the information, and that's a big problem too. So, yeah, no, that was my main thing is just to think about everybody and help them if they want information, help them get it, and so they can make their own ideas, and who knows what that'll, how much that'll help. So,
no, man, it helps immensely.
That's just
it helps immensely.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, James is who I was talking about. He'll come and kick it with us most nights after the show. He's hanging out with us most nights. And we're again, the conversations are ranging far and wide, and I've learned a ton from James because of his medical condition, because of talking about dealing with the government, talking about like he said tonight, being isolated, having this feeling of you're kind of forgotten. You're forgotten.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be, man. You're part of this family now. You don't have to be forgotten. Like you are as valued as anybody else. You already know it. But it's still your point is reach out to those people that may be in that situation. It feels you feel alone, and that's not okay.
Yep. That's it.
Amen, brother. Amen. You're the best. Anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you. This has been a great show, as always.
Thank you, James. Pleasure's ours. Pleasure's ours. We'll catch you after the show, eh?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes, sir. All right, see you there. Thanks, James. Yep. That's James. Sorry to cut you off there. That's James Salcedo from Salcedo Paranormal. His podcast is Salcedo Paranormal. Follow him there, and there we go. Let's see. I wish Mike was a speed freak. Nah, get out of here. Get out of here. So please follow Salcedo Paranormal. James, that's the individual that just called. And yeah, like I said, the reason I'm not shy about that is that, if you got a podcast or YouTube channel, let's let people know. Let's get the message out. I'm true to this and I mean it. Let's succeed together. There's no reason to just try and, hog attention and, keep people from getting their word out. Okay, come on. Like I said, you either step up and you say what you mean and you mean what you say, or you don't, right? And that's that. So there you go. James Salcedo Paranormal. Check it out. All right, let's go to... so we're talking tonight, just to recap the conversation for folks that are just showing up. We're talking about video games. Just real quick, let's go back. China cuts the amount of time minors can spend playing online video games, okay? And so in and of itself, it seems like it's an innocuous thing, like I said when we began tonight. However, once the government meddles and interferes with these sorts of things, you see all kinds of other stuff. China urges nations to actively guide the Taliban. We've got facing China's squeeze, Taiwan launches English language news platform. We've got why is the Communist Party clamping down on China's biggest stars and fan clubs? China breeds, that's different. This one, George Soros investors in Xi's China face a rude awakening. Well, all these articles are already linked. Why China is cracking down on tech and what's next. And again, let's see, what else? There's more. Here you go. Why China has been changing its mind about billionaires? Exactly like I described earlier, because they don't want powerful people to challenge them. Like I said, it's just like here. It's like, okay, freedom of speech is one thing, right? You can say anything you want, but once people start hearing you, then you become a problem, and they start cracking down. Just start cracking down. It's not good. All right, so let's go. We got one more phone call here that we're going to go to, and we're still taking your calls. We got time for you guys if you want to be part of the show tonight. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037, and let's do it. Let's go to Austin. Austin in Michigan. What's up, my man? Are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Welcome to the show. What's going on, my man?
Just calling in. I seen you guys were live. I just tuned in like about 10 minutes ago.
Okay. We're talking about China. That's why I gave you the quick recap. I had a feeling you needed a recap.
Yeah, I was just sharing this out to everyone, so I wasn't really listening completely.
That's okay.
To what you're saying.
That's cool. Check it out. I appreciate you sharing. I'm going to recap it just for you. China has cracked down on minors, people under 18 playing video games. They're only
I got
allowed,
you.
Yes,
I remember.
Yes. They're only allowed to play 1 hour on weekends from 8 to 9 their local time. So every minor in the country is only allowed to play 1 hour, not on school nights, only 1 hour on weekends and holidays. That's it. And so, like I said, the argument isn't... Some people want to argue about the value of video games and these types of things. Some people have said video games are freeing. They expand your mind. They let you consider other things while you're playing them. You can multitask, like listen to the radio, something like this, and play a video game, etc., so on. Some people have said video games are mind-numbing. They'll destroy you, things like this. But my point is, sure, all those things are valid. However, don't you think that should be up to the parents to decide and not the government? That's my point tonight. What do you think?
Yes, I do. The government is being put first in front of everything. That's the new world religion. So they're gradually testing it. I don't think it'll work. I think it'll ultimately fail. But you're going to see them push little things in every little part of your entertainment, of exercise, of whatever you do. They want you to show your worship through limiting the activity for the great one, I'm going to call it.
Which is, now I've said this before, the Great One, which means the party, right? The party.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we talked about this not too long ago, and so we were talking about like higher and lower frequency people, right? With that vibration. And so the thing to me is like the most egregious thing about all this is the government is not only cracking down in this case on video games. It seems innocuous to start the conversation that way, but I think it's a war on your soul. Because, like I said, we're not allowed to make our own decisions, and that means we are not allowed to make our own mistakes. And if we're not allowed to make our own mistakes, we're not allowed to grow for them. And if we're not allowed to grow from our own mistakes and get better, we're not allowed to get better. We are only allowed to be what they tell us to be, and that is that. And that's why I maintain, and I took it to the next level, I think this is a war on consciousness. This is a war on people's souls. Sure. And this is not just a boot on the neck totalitarianism. This is a war on consciousness and ascension and people becoming better people is what I think it is.
The most ancient war of all existence has always been that we're in the character building time. This is the most amazing time for anyone to be alive because now everybody gets to be real Jedis. And if you ever liked Star Wars, well, here's your chance because you're in the movie now. I mean, this ain't the movies, right? This definitely isn't the movies. There's a lot of things that have to be considered that movies aren't going to tell you. But it's the idea of the war between light and darkness has always been a thing. And this is a beginning. It's like a beta test. I don't think we've really seen how far they want to take it. The Great One wants to take it. It wants full worship, but they start out like this. Like, okay, give me an hour. Or, okay, dedicate your day to me on this day of the week or that day. And then it'll be like holidays or whatever, like just little inches. Every inch we give it, it's like it kind of intertwines into a huge thing of like different things that are happening to us in our life, like toxic relationships. It's like a reflection. It's like a reflection of toxic relationships and people that are accepting to be victims on the small scale. And it's like reflecting out into the large scale. Like a bully, for example. I know that's kind of a funny word to use, but you give them an inch and they'll take a mile. And then you know, one day he's asking for your lunch money, and because you didn't say no, now the next day he wants your shoes. You know what I'm saying? And on a grand scale, that's where this is going. People need to learn how to say no. They need to study it. How to say no.
And why though? Like there has to be, like, you don't like lash out randomly and say no. Like there's got to be reasons. We need to think. And again, that's what awesome. I'm saying. In that spirituality, in us becoming better people. Again, like I said, right? Like you've called me a Jedi. I'm honored by that notion. I don't think I'm there, but am I way further ahead than I was 20 years ago? You're damn right. And if I had a boot on my neck by the technocrats, I would never have achieved this moment now. You understand? And that's what I'm saying to you. They don't want this. They don't want us discussing openly and being kind to each other. You see, it's a simple concept. However, the loyalty to the party is first and foremost. It's number one. And the second you're more loyal to your neighbor than you are to the party, you become a terrorist.
Treason, terror.
Yes,
yep, treason.
Yes, sir.
Right
and that's it. And grotesquely, your neighbor is your fellow man, like your fellow human being. Like, you see, divide and conquer. When I say it all the time about the media and all this, it is a war. It is. You framed it well. Also, is that it is the eternal war of good and evil. It's about ascension. It's about us becoming better, not just as people, as a society, as a human entity, a human race, a human, whatever you want to call it, human species. It's about becoming better. And they don't want us to be, because better means we're on to them. That's what it means.
Pressure makes diamonds. And that is how Jedis are made when stuff like this happens. So you could look at it at one of two ways. You're always going to find the down in everything. You're always going to find the positive in everything. But if you always focus on one side, then you're going to be off balance. You're not going to be at ease. You're going to be in dis-ease. And then you could get sick. Your immune system will be lowered. Your cortisol levels will spike. Your oxidative radicals will cause inflammation, and you're going to have all sorts of problems. And you could eventually even kill yourself by letting the dark side win you over.
Agreed. Nathan says, Mike, this is too far from home. Do you think so? I don't think so at all. I think that China is the guinea pig for the New World Order, basically. Once they lock that down, people are going to start adopting that model because they're going to say, wow, look at all the great things China's doing. And I think Robert's correct, by the way. He called in and said that China is so far up to their neck in debt, they're worse than we are. They're ready to break. And I think if we get the right leadership in, we could break them without ever firing a shot. And that's not right. They're going to suffer a little bit, but it's a suffering they've created themselves. And so very much like the Soviet Union, they reformed after the Cold War, right? They overextended themselves with all the rest of that. I'm just saying that diffused without ever firing a shot. Well, unless you count the Mujahideen fighting, right? All the proxy wars against Russia and all the rest of that, right? That's a whole other story. But without firing like an actual hot war, World War III type shot. I think it can be done with China as well. You just have to have a plan. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, I mean, back to the war of good and evil. This is what this is about. It's about that consciousness, the ascension, the ability for us to learn how to be better people. And if they dictate from cradle to grave, then we don't even ever have that chance. That's what I really think this is about.
And the ultimate way to stand up to something like this is to gain self-efficient skills so you can say no, and learn your environment so you can say no. Find people you can trust. So when you are injured or in need, you know that you can count on them. And I know that's a stretch. A lot of people can't do that. But if you can't, keep building up your skills that you know you would need the most for self-efficiency. Because if you aren't self-efficient, then you're going to just give up really easily. If you have a heart for it and you don't have any skills, you could probably say no. Just because you will be taken down the path to learn what you need to learn. If you have faith, you could go in the jungle. Indigenous tribes go like 4 weeks without eating, often. You know, like I'm confident that anybody could find food in less than 4 weeks in civilization.
Agreed. Like again, like the dependence on the system is how they get us, and you're completely right. See, this is what I'm saying, right? You get enough people together, you keep all of these things on the top of mind, you always improve yourself, and look where good things can happen. And by the way, octoberstrike.com, shared by Robert in both the Discord and over on I'm going to share it in in the YouTube chat as well. Octoberstrike.com. Check it out. And this is what we're saying, right? If we take to the streets peacefully and we say no more and we ask for something better, well, what happens? What do you think happens?
It's compound mathematics. Yes. Never underestimate the influence that you have in other people. If you're having trouble and you're putting too much energy into what other people are doing, if you mind your own business, you'll be busy all the time and you're going to inspire others by how far you're going to get. And that goes back, angel is an old word to inspire. So let your inner angels shine and be the change you wish to see.
Amen. Amen to that. Move. Amen to that. And speaking of that, we're going to have you on Thursday. This is Austin that we'll have on Thursday to talk about the green language with exact examples exactly like that. Can you jot that one down as well? Good shit, man.
Oh, wait, I just said the green language. I always get confused. Like, I remembered it the other day and I had it. And then it just like slipped through my head again because I didn't realize how much I've been actually studying the green language because of, do you think we could give the people and me, because I kind of forgot what that really means?
Yeah, so the green language is the original language before the Tower of Babel. We'll do this whole thing on Thursday. But so just real quick, it's they said that they used to speak a pure language before God struck down the Tower of Babel. It's a biblical thing, scattered the people around the world and changed their languages so they couldn't communicate and build the tower to heaven again, right? And so it makes you wonder, if before the Tower of Babel, if everybody spoke the same language, what was that language? And it has its roots in everything, in all the language that we all spoke as the civilizations from different parts of the world as they grew up and got old, and right, these languages solidified and developed. There's still pieces in all of these languages that trace back to these initial the language of the birds, as they call it. They say that the birds still speak it, the original language, the green language. And so basically, like you said, with the angel, so say that again, angel means what? And I'll explain why that's the green language.
Angel goes back to an old word through etymology, to inspire.
Okay, so now how did you so find your inner angel, and it's an inspiration to other people, right?
Yeah, by doing the right thing, like always doing something that, a little thing like sweeping the floor for your mom or something, like you keep doing that, you might inspire her to make you a meal on a Sunday that you like, something like that. Like little, even that could be far-fetched for some people. Maybe it's something as little as she doesn't leave trash on the floor anymore, Like, you gotta notice it. You gotta notice the littlest step forward. You gotta notice it, and you gotta appreciate it to the most of your ability, and that's the right path you want to be on.
Exactly. Well, and so as part of that goes, it's like it does trace to etymology. Like I said, all language traces back to that moment before it was all busted up to the Tower of Babel. And so you can trace the etymology. You can trace, like, we'll get into this Thursday, but like television, light, vision. It's exactly what they're trying to tell you it is, except like our brain hasn't really grasped what they're telling us. It's like, it's obvious, it's in your face, things like this, right? Like not just etymology, it's like how the words are constructed. And again, these Latin-based languages, if you go back to the actual Latin itself, that was based on a language prior. There's like a whole bunch of this that traces all the way back to that, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. So that's just like I said, probably some poor examples because you caught me off guard here, but I'll be prepared on Thursday, and we'll rip that apart, man. We'll rip that apart. But yeah, so that's what it is. That's what it is. Good night, Penny. Thanks for hanging out with us. There you go. And so, by the way, let me put that up real quick. Robert shared this. Octoberstrike.com. Check that out, guys. And that's what people are talking about, and that's why this is a thing. This becomes whatever it becomes. And if it doesn't succeed this time, it will succeed next time. It's just right there in the Discord, right there in the general channel. Octoberstrike.com.
Oh, I see it.
General, yeah. So there you go. That's there you go. Appreciate it, guys. Anything else while we got you on, Austin? We're about to wrap this up.
Be excellent to each other. I'm kind of coining this from another person that says this on YouTube. Permission to use his name.
Sure.
It's Rex Bear on Leak Project. He always says, be excellent to each other and be the change you wish to see. And I kind of like that.
I kind of like that too.
So I'll say that today.
Right on. I kind of like it. I appreciate
felt like it fit in with what I said.
Yeah,
all right.
absolutely.
Peace out. Much love.
Cool. You too, man. Talk to you soon. There we go. That's Austin. He'll be with us on Thursday to do the language of the birds. There you go. Richard's got it right. General Strike Mike. What's going on, guys? We're babbling about Babel, the Tower of Babel. You'll see. Everybody follow the Curious Bunny on YouTube. She's streaming tomorrow night, and there you go. Go check that out. Good stuff. Thanks, Penny. You too. God bless you as well. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for staying up late to hang out with the troubled minds, the fellow troubled minds. All right, so we're done here. We're about to finish this up. But as we finish, like I said, it's not about. A lot of this can be boiled down to some things that are, I don't know, it's easy to get stuck in the weeds. It's easy to argue about video games, right? It's easy to argue about some of these other things, which are another concept. It's literally another discussion. But it's about vices. It's about our own choices, right? This is what the larger thing is about. And I think that's what this is. It's not... it's about us being able to make our own mistakes and as a result improve from those mistakes, right? And so if let's say you're locked in a rubber room with a straitjacket and you're just fed a liquid diet, you're safe. The government's keeping you safe, right? But you have no chance to ever ascend, to ever become better, because they've limited your access to everything and everyone. And you see, that's what this is about. It's not about some of these other things, the video games, or, like I said, that becomes like a clickbait. I think it's good clickbait for sure, but and it'll get some attention over here. But I think it's for the wrong reasons, right? Like people kind of don't get what's happening with this. Jay Winch says, "At everyone, great reset or great awakening. I hope awakening," and I agree. And that's what this is about. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate you hanging out here, and you guys know what the deal is. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to keep doing it. So for you guys, you're going to get some inside information for hanging out as long as you have, and to the bitter end of this show. We're going to be off tomorrow because my brother's swinging through Vegas, and I'm going to take the evening off and have dinner with him. So I will be thinking about you guys, but I will also hope that you get some rest and do all the things you need to do as well. Maybe like Austin was saying, maybe sweep the floor a little better this time, or whatever it is that you think you should be doing. Take the extra time that you wouldn't get listening to us, and do something a little good for yourself and somebody else. So what's up? Jack says Leak Project is a joke. No offense. All right, that's fine. But still, he says what he said at the end there. It's difficult to kind of shoot that down. So anyway, Matt's got it right. Be the change you wished you see. And let's finish. I see no Jay. I'm not sure what's up with Jay in the J-Tro. I'm sure he's busy. He's got a good reason. He said he was going to be a little bit spotty over the next few days or whatever. So that's cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap this up and continue. Like I said, tomorrow there will be no rest for the wicked. No, I'm just kidding. Take the night off tomorrow. We'll have a rerun playing on Fringe. Hopefully, I'm going to submit it to the powers that be, and hopefully that plays. And if not, we'll be back on Wednesday stronger than ever and refreshed and ready to kill it metaphorically and in a peaceful way. But all right, there we go. There's Jay. He's there you go. Thanks Penny. You too. Enjoy your evening as well. Thank you again for staying up late for us. Like I said, it's not unnoticed. I know you're up very, very late to come hang out with Troubled Minds. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Nathalie. Great show as always. And there you go. It's like when you summon somebody. You're like, man, we're supposed to do the J-Tro, and then blam, guess who shows up? He shows up. What's up, Jay? Welcome to the show, my friend. Whenever you're ready, no problem. All right, so thank you. Great show. Appreciate that. There you go. Jack says, yeah, I should clean this place someday. Yeah, see, exactly. What's up, Jay? How are you, my man?
Great, Mike.
Good.
I don't even know where to go with this, was having a conversation with my son while I'm listening to the show in the background, and it's like, the 18-year-old is picking that up, what you're putting down in the show, and he's not listening to it. And it worries me about the college and that whole thing with the news show today in China that started off the whole show today. It's like, wow, we are on an unbelievably slippery slope.
Yeah, and you're a parent. Do you want the government raising your children?
Well, I mean, no, I don't.
No, hell no.
Absolutely not. But I do try to keep my kids under an hour a day on the internet.
Good on you. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that.
And when they're on it, I'm, the little ones, when they're playing with their tablets, they're on my lap and I'm watching what they're watching, Sometimes that's as bad as catching up with your show on double time.
Blow your brain up in double time?
Right. Well, I mean, when the people call into the show and stuff like that, they put out a lot of information really fast, So, you're listening to it on double time. It's bad, but, you're watching two kids with tablets on what they're doing. It's like, no, we're not watching that, And the 18-year-old boy, is off to college today, first day, and
nice.
All Zoom, but one class.
Really? So it's more internet, more internet time.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Well, I mean, that was one of the things that I had a conversation with the school teachers about for the little guys, the pre-K and the kindergarten and stuff like that. And I'm like, these guys are on the devices for 4 hours a day doing their thing, and they want to play. And, you want them to be on it for another 2 hours reading books and doing little math problems, homework, and stuff like that, because it's not the same as being in school.
No, not at all. Not at all. You get to do what you want to do.
Right.
Yep.
But, you keep them on there doing their schoolwork for a couple hours. Well, you got to give them, an hour or 45 minutes of doing what, watch Ladybug or, Paw Patrol or whatever. It's just that whole thing limited them. In China that was just like a tone down too, right? Realistically speaking about it, they went from 3 hours to an hour, right?
Yeah. So they just trimmed it down. Yep. Yeah, so it's been in effect. This is what I'm saying, right? The second you give the government a little bit of leeway like that, they'll just keep tamping down. They'll just keep taking. They'll keep taking. What's up? Ash shows up and says, ban the video games. It's training for fighting off the reptilian invasion. What's up, buddy? How are you, Ash? A little bit of Ender's Game, anybody? But yeah. No, you're right. They did. So it's been in place as part of that social credit thing, and they've been doing it. They just removed it. No school nights, no video games on school nights by mandate. Like somebody could turn you in, and your parents could lose their jobs and shit, right? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is not okay. This is messed up. This is messed up. And yeah.
By mandate, you have to have the this or the that to do whatever.
Yep.
The gym.
Yep. Yep. And that's what's happening here. It's again, not okay. It's not okay. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's the whole boil the frog slowly, right? If they continue to do it and continue to chip away, at some point it's too late. And that's why we have to be aware and vigilant of what's going on, so we can't ever get to that point. Because fine, we get a nation full of people with bad habits and slovenly, and they say Americans are fat and lazy and all kinds of stuff the world over, right? And yet the world over, where are they all trying to get? That's right. Here, because they can do those things if they want to do those things. You see?
I just, we're right there, Mike. One of the things that I'm thankful for is that we get to see this. It's a transition in our evolution of civilization, or however you would call that. We're going to get to know it before. I mean, you and I better than, some of the other people because we're a bit older. But you get to see that change of what has happened and what's going on and stuff like that. And part of that to me is interesting. Hopefully it goes the way that we want, where we're going to be better. We're not going to be hating on each other and starting arguments. We can have civil conversations.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with Robert. I think we're headed there. I think it's a lot of people are waking up. Like he said, people are just ignoring the mainstream media now because they're all full of shit, and we all know it. And so, what do? You come together. You do something like this. This is the next level. This is where the future is. And whether it's it doesn't, the reach doesn't even matter, does it? It's like the old school social club. If you can get together and talk out the problems and kind of scratch that itch of just really stretching your mental legs and
Freemasons 2.0.
Kinda, yeah, right. Without all the other weird shit they do, because you don't have to do wear any kind of little red vest or any kind of hat or no.
It's an apron. It's actually an apron.
Whatever it is, I don't know. It's an apron. All right. No, we're not going to be baking any cookies up in this hizzy, so no aprons necessary. Yeah, what's up, Daryl? This is live. We're still live. How you doing? I see you on Rockfin. Yeah, we're still live. We're going to do the outro with Jay, and then we're finishing up here. We're at the end. This is 3 hours plus, and we're just kicking it, just getting Jay's thoughts on the conversation tonight, and then we'll finish this up. But yeah, thanks for joining us over on Rockfin. So I don't know, what do you think? Like to boil it down, like I said, we're in no giant hurry here. But what do you think about just the conversation in general tonight? Is it like I said? I do think I think the bigger implication is that there was a war, like Austin said. It is good versus evil. It is like that ability to be able to make our own mistakes and become better people as a result. If you remove that, we're never able to, right? We're never able to become better to ourselves and better to each other without the ability to make our own mistakes. And I think that's what this is really about. If you give it's again the intellectual end game of this. I think that's what we're looking at. What do you think?
Well, it's plebs, right?
Plebs.
You guys taught me something new.
Yes, sir. The plebs.
We don't. If we've all get turned into the plebs part of it, we're not going to realize that the chessboard is sitting on our back.
Yep.
And all we have to do is stand up.
Yep.
No, we're not going to do it. We're just not going to do it.
Yep.
And I really think that we're there. We are right there. Like it could be tomorrow.
I think closer than ever. And this type of thing, that October strike that Robert shared, this is the type of thing that needs to happen. And you see why they're horrified of free speech in the internet, because this is the type of stuff that people can get together and come to terms on. And they don't want it because you can use it against them.
China doesn't want their kids playing on the internet. They got, even when they do have the opportunity to play on the internet, from what I read in the article that you posted on the news show, is they have to do it within their own time zone.
Yeah, at the same time. Everybody, 8 to 9 p.m., that's it. That's all you get.
But if you're in Indiana and I'm in Ohio, I'm never going to have a chance to interact with you.
You see?
Because your 8 to 9 is different than mine.
You see? Because they don't want different experiences commingling. They want your experience and your social group dictated by the government in your own time zone, your own area, your own province, to be exactly what you just described. Because if you get other ideas from other people in different time zones, well...
Oh, damn it. They're going to shut the Discord down because we're allowed to talk to people in South Africa and Japan and
yep,
the UK.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Matt's got it right. He says the proles, the plebs, the proles, the unwashed masses, it's all the same thing. Useless eaters, they call us. Right? If we don't have value to the elites, then we're useless. Like I said, the social credit is horrifying, because what do you think happens in China when you go afoul? Yeah, that's the worst.
Pig farm, I'd imagine.
I would think so. Yeah. James says local to the extreme and artificially local even. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got a quote for us, my man? Let's wrap this up. I
do. It's brief.
Wait. So play some music. Let me let's get some dramatic pause in here. All right. So we finish up. We're here with Jay for the Jay outro, the J-tro we call this. He brings us a quote at the end of the night, and we're finishing up. Like I said, tomorrow night we will not be on doing a live show. My brother will be here. I'll be having dinner with my brother, but we'll be back on Wednesday and Thursday. And let's do it, Jay. Let's get the J-tro starting in music cues now. 3.
Have fun with your brother.
Thank you. I will. I'll do. We don't see the people we love often enough, and I will relish every moment. Thank you. Whenever you're ready, sir.
The very concept of objective truth is fading out of the world. Lies will pass on to history. And I brought that one in from George Orwell, because just it almost starting to look like a manual now. You know? Yeah,
it is. It wasn't supposed to be a actual manual. Funny enough, Rivers What's Up says, granted, China only has one time zone. I didn't know that. So there you go. That stamps that out. But in any case, there's still
no way. China's huge.
That's a big ass. Well, they get to pick it, right? I don't know. Anyway, that we can look at something up. What's up, Dao Dai Dur? You guy, that guy. Thanks for hanging out with us. Great show tonight. Thank you. Appreciate it. And yeah, thanks everybody for being here. And you guys know the drill. At the end of this, yes, we're live, Daryl. Daryl says, if the mandate goes all in, then the agenda is all about this control. New world order. Social media will be deducted from your social account. This will go down on your permanent record. Yes, yes, yes. All right, we're done. Finishing this up. Thanks again, guys. We're going to be hanging out on the Discord if you guys want to come do that. And yeah, we usually get James there, usually get Matt there, usually get Jay here, usually get myself for a little while. We get lots of folks. Axel usually shows up. We get lots of people coming to say hi. Daryl shows up. Jump in the Discord. Come say hi. Troubledminds.org. If you're not in there, click the Discord link. Give you a direct invite and just jump and shoot the breeze and come hang out. So that's the deal. We're done. As we finish, you guys know, we'll see you Wednesday night. No show tomorrow. We'll have a rerun on Fringe, but go back, check it out. If you want to support the show, go listen to an old show you haven't heard. Listen to it on the podcast feed. It pays us like 4.5 cents or something like that. It helps. It helps. If you listen to the podcast feed, it helps. And you miss Troubled Minds, appreciate that. Go listen to a show you haven't heard on the podcast feed. All right, so you know the drill. Be sure, be strong, be true. Anything else, Jay? I'm gonna take that as a nah. Thank you
for. Something happened to my phone. I got kicked off the.
You're fine. You're fine. We're not there yet, but that's all right. All right, we'll see you in the shoot the breeze in a minute. All right, as we finish, thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours. Have a great night.
Good night, Mike.
Woo! Ow!
Ow, that's how we're supposed to do it. I'm not good at this whole woo thing.
That's all right.
I don't always woo, but when I do, there it is.
You don't have to woo. You can just ow. All right, guys. We're out. Do the best. We'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Have a fantastic one.
Good night.